Let's make sure I get my time. Give me time, Jeff. Doesn't help when you get the turn on. It's 7:02. We're going to go ahead and start this evening's meeting. It's Tuesday, June 6th. Call the meeting to order. Mayor Trumpman? Here. Vice Mayor Johnson-Sardella? Here. Commissioner Bill?
Here.
Commissioner Ross? Present. Commissioner Tudor?
Here.
Okay, roll call, please. I'm sorry, Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Stan, for Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to take this evening 1 moment of silence, just for a few minutes, for all the terror victims. There's been so many incidents around the world, London, and the Philippines, and I'd just like to take a moment for that. Thank you. Thank you. We'll go ahead and start this evening's presentations. I do want to make a couple announcement changes on the agenda. Item 4A and 4B have been tabled. Unfortunately, State Senator Daphne Campbell had to return to Tallahassee for a new session, so she'll be giving us legislative updates at a later date. Commissioner Sally Hayman had another engagement and couldn't make it, so we're going to be taking those two off the agenda. Okay. Also, under information updates 7A, Beatrice couldn't be with us today, so actually the village manager will be giving that report during that time. So we're going to start off with something very pleasant, the swearing in of Police Chief Nicholas Walschlager, Village Clerk.
Do you have to use your mic or does it use this?
Yeah, he's not tall enough to use that one. There we go.
I kind of limited to where I can go.
All right. Your name?
Nick Walschlager,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and the state of Florida
and the state of Florida
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
both foreign and domestic,
both foreign and domestic,
and I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and that I am entitled to hold office
and that I am entitled to hold office
under the Constitution,
under the Constitution,
and I will faithfully perform all duties
and will faithfully perform all duties
of office of Chief of Police
in the office of Chief of Police
for the Village of Biscayne Park Police Department,
for the Village of Biscayne Park Department,
of which I am about to enter.
of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I think they'd like you to say a few words. I know you're a man of few words, but come on.
I'm going to do what I do best, and that's not take the spotlight. So I'm actually going to honor one of the officers, Officer Pedro Dominguez. He's actually a top producer for Click It or Ticket. I have your award right here. Thank you, sir. In that simple thing, I want to let you know traffic is back.
We're going to just sit behind you and check this.
We'll never get him in the front. He said he was the first. Where you should sit. I can sit. I'm sure not.
No, we're good. No, just sit. See how it goes. Come on, guys.
Come on.
We'll do one with everybody, and we'll do one just go outside.
Introduce the Come on. We don't fight. Come on.
Ready over here? 1,
Wait.
2, 3. One more. Smile, people. Come on, nice.
We're not supposed to be smiling.
There you go, beautiful. One more. Thank you very much. Gotta do it again.
Without further ado, we'll go ahead and have the village manager's report.
Good evening. The big news tonight is the 2014-15 CAFR is complete. And so we finally have that. Beatrice was stuck at her other job in Key Biscayne today, but tomorrow we'll push the button on it and have it sent electronically to the state and to all the agencies that require it. And so that's done. We've already begun on the 15-16 CAFR. Beatrice has been working to reconcile all of the accounts for that year, and she's completed it, and it'll be going to the auditor shortly. So we're excited about that. Currently, we anticipate that the 15-16 CAFR should be completed by September 30th in time to be turned in on time. So. Additionally, the CITT fund is being audited. They audit that every 5 years, and so we're now encountering another 5-year audit on that, and that's sort of burying Beatrice at the moment as well. But we'll continue working on that and get that completed shortly. As far as finance, since Beatrice isn't here, we'll keep it short. Essentially, all payables are up to date that we're aware of. We still get an occasional surprise or two, but it's all looking good and up to date now, as well as all deposits are being, handled quickly, and payroll is up to date as well. So, public works staff have done, the normal routine routine work through the village. And they've cleaned up the public works area, painted one of the large containers to make it just appear nicer to the neighborhood, and more in keeping with the neighborhood. So Parks and Rec, I interviewed another potential candidate for Parks and Rec on Saturday, and he's a very strong candidate. We're discussing moving forward with him, and so we're waiting for a little more information right now, but hopefully I'll have an announcement on that shortly. We're excited about that, and I think you guys will all be excited as well. Additionally, we have a Pilates instructor that I met with and a Zumba instructor who are both interested in holding classes. We're trying to get more programming into the rec center. And so we're working with them, going back and forth on the contract right now. If we can reach a tentative agreement, we'll bring it to the commission next month in July and have the commission vote on that to approve it. The police, the surplus cars that we had netted about $5,200, and so we're happy with that. The 3 new cars are in service already, and staffing efforts are continuing. I'll let our chief talk more about that. And then with code, that's been a big thing, and I know that there's a lot of frustration out there with a lot of residents who haven't seen the activity with code that they would like, and we are being active. We've bumped it up a lot. Last month, we gave out 137 courtesy notices and 36 citations, and that will increase. I spoke with Elizabeth Nero, our code officer, and had asked her if she would like some help, additional help. We can bring in CAP or an outsourced code officer to help her. The trick to that is to do that in such a way that doesn't bury her in administrative work as well. And so we're trying to find a balance there, but we'll continue to do that. Areas that she's really targeting right now are objects in the right-of-way, fences, trash and debris, property maintenance, abandoned vehicles, parking in the front yard, that's a big one. Roofs, paint, and permit violations, of course, that's, becomes more life safety. So, additionally, a lot of her time's being taken up right now with inspections of rental properties. We were able to, and thank you, Linda Dillon, get all of the letters out to start collecting the monies for landlord permits, and part of that is the inspection of rental properties. And so that's taking up a good deal of her and our building officials' time. So. And then we've also discussed the parking on the medians that I know a lot of you guys are concerned about. And Chief Wolfslugger and I discussed that with Officer Pinero as well, trying to come up with a strategy to start addressing that. Excuse me. And the problem's always been if there's just a car sitting on the median, the code officer can't know which house that is necessarily to actually write them a courtesy notice. And so we're working with the police now where we'll call it in and they will identify the owner of the car and get us a house address so we can, start to cite them for code or citations, better yet. And then administratively, one of the other things that we're looking at is how to slow some traffic down here. We've had a lot of complaints recently about speeding and so forth, and I've reached out to the county, and, excuse me. So, and we're looking at calming devices, be it speed bumps, humps, tables, cushions, all of those. And the county will probably require a traffic study of some sort and so forth. They have a lot of hoops to jump through. But we are looking at that and exploring that, and I think Commissioner Bilt as well is helping me with that, so thank you. And that's really it for now, so thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional withdrawals or deletions from the agenda?
Sorry, I have a couple of questions of the manager on this report.
Oh, sure, go ahead. Absolutely.
I'm not sure if we spoke about this or not, but there's an employment letter offer and signed agreement with the new chief.
Yes.
And since it's a letter agreement, I wonder, possibly, maybe John should answer, whether we need to do a draft and adopt, whether the commission needs to ratify and approve a draft and adopt.
It's my recollection that we got that authorization to do that draft and adopt at the last meeting or the meeting before. If we haven't, then we will. We'll even ask for it again now if we want to clear the record, but the draft of that agreement is a very, really one term to that agreement as we agreed, which was simply allowing a period, the 2-year period, that if the manager or current manager or any manager no longer wants the newly installed chief here to serve as chief, then he would go back to his prior position. But if just to be sure, I have no issue if you guys want to authorize that draft and adopt right now.
Well, I know that
We actually drafted it, so
we encouraged the manager to hire, make the chief, and it was the manager's decision to make that. But since it turned into a contract, and all of our contracts are on by way of resolution or public record on our website, just in the interest of transparency, I think we should do a draft and adopt and have it all comfortable.
Do you want to make a motion to do so?
I make a motion to draft and adopt a resolution to ratify the chief's letter agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. So done.
Thank you.
Second question that I had, the last question that I had, has to do with the finances. I'm glad you reported that Beatrice has reconciled the next fiscal year that's going to be under audit, 15-16, which would bring us current in our CAFR once that's completed. I'm curious, and I might have mentioned this when we met last week, I'd like to know if the financials that were presented to us by the previous finance manager to close out that year, there were, at that time, he was presenting monthly financials or every other month financials, and there was a set that was produced and published for September 30th, 2016. And I wonder if Beatrice's reconciliation conforms, or if there's any discrepancy between what was presented to us and what she found.
She has not mentioned any discrepancy on that with me. I will check with her and see. I have not asked her that, and I apologize. We forgot to do that today. But I will find out for you. So,
I think if you would let us know, I'd appreciate that.
absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay. Are there additions, deletions, or withdrawals from the agenda?
Excuse me, Mayor? I think the chief has a little...
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, because you have the village manager's report. Thank you, sorry.
Just to cover a couple of the things that the manager had already talked about as far as median parking and traffic enforcement. I discussed it with John, and Commissioner Belt was happy enough to step in, make a couple phone calls to us for traffic department. It's always been an issue of, can you cite, or do we have to properly notice? So what we're going to do is just all together move forward. We're having traffic maintenance come out to check for if signs are needed in any of our placement, and if so, to install them, if the signage we have is already fine. We're working with the code department, as the manager said, for us to identify the homeowners and cite, therefore that the village can actually enforce it. They will receive a little bit of a financial procurement in that. Again, all that's going to have to go through the village attorney. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for traffic maintenance, I've went ahead and I've ordered a case of the Scrape It orange stickers that everybody knows and loves from anytime you've ever parked illegally. Those are going to go on your cars now. If you park on the medians, this is your warning. Stay off the medians. Otherwise, you will be out there for 30 minutes with a razor blade scraping your window. As far as traffic calming, the speed trailers that we have were won through Click It or Ticket and DUI campaigns and things of that nature. I've reached out to some of our contacts to see if we can't get surplus items or items that they'll loan out to see if there's things that we're interested in. Our speed trailers do not record any data. So when it's flashing the numbers, it's simply, hey, you're going that fast. We have no way to monitor that outside of standing there and writing it down ourselves, which, for that matter, we would have an officer out there with a radar gun doing that. Everything has man hours assigned to it. We're going to attempt to find one that actually does record, see if that's something that we're going to be interested in, see if we can't get that on loan for a while to see, hey, this is a great investment for us, and also at the end of the day, how much it's going to cost, is it worth it for us? We do speed surveys. But again, each one of those surveys has man hours attached to it. So we're taking an officer off the street for 30 minutes, 45 minutes to monitor traffic at one section. That's fine on a day that we have surplus officers. But as we're rebuilding the force, it's not exactly easy to do every day. So that's why you're not seeing that. Again, traffic enforcement. When I gave away the award to Officer Dominguez, Click It or Ticket. It's always been a building block of ours. Every traffic initiative we've participated in. There were 5 years in a row where we came away with $30,000 to $45,000 in equipment and products and radars, things that the village did not have to shell out money for. That went away for a while. That's back. Anyone that saw the massive force of officers that were out over the last 2-week period was because they were dealing with the Click It or Ticket event. More than just anything that the state provides, I want to start bringing stuff back, start bringing up stuff that we haven't even thought about yet. Yeah, they have Click It or Ticket for seatbelts. There's no reason why we don't have our own little initiative to, we're going to do a seatbelt enforcement, or we're going to do a stop sign enforcement throughout the village. We have reserves that are going to be able to come in for us at no charge. And again, it's just one of those things where we're trying to build the force back up. We hit our drastic low of 5 reserve officers. We're building that back up. Right now, we're at 8. One of our reserves resigned due to family issues. She couldn't make the time to be here, so we took a little bit of a step backwards. But I just received word from one of the detectives that was here. 2 backgrounds have just cleared, so we're going to have a full-time appointment and a part-time appointment ready to go as of next Monday. So we are making efforts. I know that people come up, they make false promises, and things are going to change. And you've heard that for so long, whether it's here, whether it's somewhere else, and it becomes, well, I'm not seeing it now, so no, it's not changing. That's not the case. That's not the case that we've seen with this manager. It's not the case that we've seen with this commission. It's not the case that I'm going to tell you. If I tell you something, I'm going to deliver on it. And I'm telling you, things are going to get better for us. I'm going to do at the next commission meeting a 6-month comparison between January to June 2016 to January to June 2017. The shout-out number that you're going to see is traffic enforcement. As I presented in the first quarter versus the last quarter of last year, stats almost tripled as far as traffic. You're going to see that through the year. That's going to be a progression. There is going to be a slow curve because we've seen the trend go down for the past 5 years. We've hit the bottom, now we're going to go back up. That doesn't mean that tomorrow we're going to end up with 2,000 tickets. That means that we are going to go up. It may take me a year to get us back to where we are or where we want to be, but even at that, I'm not done with where we've come from. We're going to surpass it.
Could you just clarify, since March 7th, how many people we've hired and what the overall hiring has been?
Through March 7th.
Yeah, from March 7th.
We've hired 3 reserve officers, which then one of our full-time reserve officers left the department, so we had to switch over. Officer Dominguez from a reserve, he stepped into a full-time position. So you can count that as 3 there, even though there was some movement. And as of what I plan to be Monday, there will be one additional full-time officer and 1 reserve. So you're looking at 5 hires.
Thank you. And I know you've been also working on some of the traffic issues, and if we have any questions, as we start to address under this item tonight, I might ask you some more further questions.
Okay.
Anybody else?
And just in that, I don't say it to pose as anything. I do have an open door policy. You don't have to wait for a meeting, you don't have to wait for anything. Call me, come to the office, tell me that you want to speak to me in an email, I'll come to your house. You know, community policing is not just a thought. It is actually a way of policing, and it needs to be here.
Thank you, Chief. Manager, that's on?
I'm sorry?
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Any deletions or withdrawals from the agenda? None? We'll take public comments. Open forward public comments. Once again, 3 minutes. You go, and please don't forget to sign in. There should be a sign-in sheet. Thank you so much.
Nancy Murray, 1030 Northeast 121st Street. Maybe the commission might think of, we were talking about the medians, that if we have, where residents have stickers that they can put on their cars, you know, show their residents, and then they have visitors, they can always have passes that they can put, that'll help keep track of the cars. Tomorrow's going to be a meet and greet at the rec center between 6 and 7. We hope that the residents are going to show up. That's going to be where we're going to introduce the city manager and the police chief to the residents. So we hope that everybody will show up for that, between 6 and 7 at the rec center. Thank you.
And Commissioner Hayward is also going to be coming. Oh, I'm sorry, that was already announced, sorry.
No, it wasn't announced.
It is now. Okay, sorry.
I told you that already.
You're right, you did, I forgot, sorry. More people will come out, maybe.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ivan Parra. I own a property on 9th Avenue and 107th Street. My point to be here tonight is ask for your help as we live at the property is over the 107th Street that is on the stretch along the golf course. We are getting a lot of golf balls in the property. I have a bag here full of golf balls just from last week. One of the residents got some damage in their car out of the golf balls. We called the golf course manager. He said he was going to look into it, but he said that the nice view came with the risks of living by a golf course. So I thought that was not acceptable. When you're getting hit in the property, there is a couple of kids that play in the front yard of the property. I'm worried that one of these balls could hit one of these kids. So that's the point of this, is just ask for your help to see if there is something we can do of the city can do about that.
Any questions? Thank you for your comments.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Mike Rothenberg, and I live on the corner
Mike Rothenberg, I live on the corner of 7th Avenue and 113th Street. And I was given a courtesy notice about 4 pieces of wood and some cement blocks that are on the corner of my property to prevent, which I have pictures here, and I'd love to let you all see them. I know when the rules were made and the laws were made 30, 40 years ago, we just didn't have large vehicles going down a very busy street, which 113th is one of the busiest in the park, and right here in the corner, I have pictures of trucks that their steering radius just cannot make the turn. And so as a result, my lawn moved, the swale, which belongs to the city, actually moved about 8 feet onto my lawn. The cement turtles that were on the swale and maybe 12 inches from the street, I left one there, showing that it moved about 7 feet up my lawn, because every time a larger vehicle, one of these rooms-to-go truck, moving vehicles, Sears trucks, every time they hit the side of these turtles, cement turtles, it hits the turtle, it moves it up. They swing around, they hit the turtle, it keeps moving up to the point where, I invested like literally hundreds, and it's gotten into over $1,000, just making the property, again, presentable for people going in and out of Biscayne Park. And I'd plant new sod, fill in ruts when weather is like this. I had literally ruts that were anywhere from 4 to 6 inches deep in the front of my lawn for everybody to see. And it's just, I had to fill those in with dirt, with gravel over the years. I've owned the property for 20 years and take a lot of pride in it. And I just want it to look really nice for people that pass by as an example of, upkeep. And all I can say is even the stop sign on the corner has been run over where nobody came out from the city to fix it, and I replanted the stop sign back in the ground. So I've just been having trouble for years, and if you saw how bad the front lawn looked, which I will show you and what it looks like now, it's just, it looks like from going from a field, an abandoned field, to that looking like a lawn again. So I guess that's about it.
Thank you.
Sorry. Can I give these pictures to
The manager.
Okay. And even if we
I'm
can't.
so sorry, I have to give you 3 minutes, I apologize.
Oh, shoot.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, the pictures will speak for themselves also. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you very much. No, thank you very much. And please don't forget to sign in.
Barbara Kuehl, 111th Street. What the chief was saying about the police department, I realize he just took over, and I don't think anybody's expecting everything to change immediately. But from what I've heard people complain, things I've seen, I'm not saying this sarcastically, but it's not about buckling your seatbelt. It's about speeding, running stop signs, doing things in the park that make it dangerous. And even though I had said, I was disappointed that Click It and Ticket went away because it showed a police presence, I feel that all of a sudden we're turning to the speed bumps and traffic circles, and we're just shooting right to that. I've lived here a long time, and other people have said the same thing, when people were afraid to speed, and now we just don't have that. And before we start, I hate speed bumps, I don't like traffic circles, I don't want the expense, I don't want the inconvenience, but I feel like we're skipping over the part of enforcement that maybe that would prevent us needing these things. That should be the last resort. And even the chief said, we haven't had the type of enforcement before, it's going back up now. Before everybody starts jumping on the speed calming things, let's try enforcement. Let's put police where they're not on 6th Avenue for seatbelt, which has its purpose at certain times, but try enforcing the speeds, stop sign running, things like that in the village. The manager mentioned our code officer is doing inspections for rentals. When this was discussed before he was here, it was supposed to be outsourced. The whole thing was there was no way that one code officer could handle the amount of rental properties we have. 20% of our properties are rentals. Our code officer is not covering enough of our village problems, let alone having to do inspections. I can't imagine how much time that would take. That was supposed to be you would outsource it to CAF, charge whatever it is, that goes on to the owner, and somebody else is doing that. But I'm one of those residents who is not happy with code. This is something that, procedures are not being followed. Simple procedures. One thing is, I see my time is almost up. One thing is trash collection. We do not have a definitive explanation of how our trash is picked up. If it's an oversized pile, if it's put out early, I know. It's like, forget.
Thank you, Barbara.
Gary Chu, 777 Northeast 111th, concerning item 12B, which is the suggestion that we renegotiate with Waste Pro to have side yard pickup for all the garbage and also increase the load size for yard trash. Well, it's the way I read it. I certainly can't support the idea of chipping in to pay for people that are too lazy to put their garbage cans away. They can bring a full garbage can out. Seems like it's not much of an effort to bring an empty one back. And I also think probably my house has as dense foliage as any property in the village, and I managed to subscribe to our code and pay the tree trimmer to take the tree trimmings away when I bring one in. And if I'm doing work myself and I have too much trash, I hold it till the next week. And so I think if I can manage that, again, I don't want to pay for somebody else who wants to simply put out a big load at their convenience. I'd like to dovetail on what Barbara said. It seems that it's not getting better, it's getting worse in terms of people putting the trash out on the wrong day. We walk a lot, we see oversized loads, and we have this kind of unique policy where we not only enable but encourage people to put oversized loads out, because we go around after the pickup when the oversized load is out the following day, and we look at it, and Waste Pro looks at it, and they get competitive bids from Waste Pro and their own person, and maybe Wednesday something happens. So they get the extended benefit of leaving out there longer, getting competitive bids, and that certainly doesn't discourage anybody. It should be a citation the next day and the next day and the next day. That's the only way you're going to discourage it and get people from doing it. They have no reason to comply. They don't. Another thing, we're now on our third village manager, and we've yet to get a letter out on the citation process and some of the issues that you're going to be looking at.
So people are not aware of what the citation process is. People are still confused about what the pickup times are on day and the restrictions, putting their garbage cans away, what that means, doesn't mean in front of the house and so forth. People are uninformed, and that's why some of these things are occurring. I'm not going to say it's going to solve everything, but I think if people were really informed, not in the egret, which nobody reads, not in the newspaper, but a letter to every house, then it's done. We can skip the courtesy notices, because the whole idea behind citations was not to waste time and paper and burden ourselves with courtesy notices for things that are just going to recur and recur. It's time to simply do it. $25 is not going to break anybody, whether they've been warned or not. But it happens a couple of times, and they're going to stop doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Janie Anderson, 11th Place and 119th Street. Yes, going to 12B, the discussion items. If you're going to look at overall traffic and safety issues and possible solutions, I'm going to throw something else into the mix, if you would be so kind as to consider. Possibly one-way in some of our extremely narrow streets. Yes, we know all our streets are narrow, but some of them that go south of 113. 119 once you cross 10th, and especially once you cross 11th Place, and probably a bunch of others I haven't even thought of, might be conducive safety-wise to one-way. It's just a thought. It's just that we're going to consider things overall. Why not throw that in there? As far as increasing the amount of trash we can put out, I have to agree with Gary. Unless you guys are getting some incredible push from residents and saying they're willing to pay the increased fee, which obviously there would be, because Waste Pro is certainly not going to absorb the increased tipping, and Waste Pro is likely to say they need increased manpower. For the occasions that someone might need to put out an oversized pile, you pay as you go. But you have people who seem to never even put anything out. Why should everyone pay an increased fee for something that we can effectively make a user fee, which is obviously more fair? As far as everyone having side yard pickup, I agree, it's really unfortunate that something that should be so simple. You put your can out at the time that's allotted, and you put it back at the time you're supposed to put it back, and it's not rocket science, and it's not an expense, but people just don't do it. So we have this huge eyesore. Is it fair that we may have to pay a little more? No, it is not at all fair, but we've got to find a solution to that eyesore, and honestly, if it's everybody with side yard pickup, then so be it, because it just looks really bad. Thanks.
Thank you.
Dan Keys. Yeah, I also want to talk about the three items in 12B. I don't believe we need to increase the 2-yard limit for yard waste. That's a number that's related to the actual tonnage as converted to yardage that we traditionally have in this community. You have 3,000 tons or whatever it is for a year. You divide that by the number of properties, and that's what your number is for your limit. Increasing that is only going to, at this point, increase our costs with Waste Pro, because they're going to say, no, we're not going to pick up 33% more. Theoretically, we're not going to pick up 33% more trash than we currently are without some additional dollars. And if they don't say it now, they're going to say it or the next contractor is going to say it when this contract is renegotiated in the future. So leave it at 2 cubic yards. It's generous. The city of Coral Gables has 1 cubic yard for your yard waste. I just don't think it's necessary, are we? I don't know how many property, I don't know why you're suggesting it, but, Commissioner, excuse me, the few people that get charged for an excess trash pile, I would say probably do not justify doing anything with this issue. As to the reduction in the speed limit and traffic calming efforts, You mentioned in your backup, Village of Key Biscayne, and I went online and I found their traffic calming report. It's quite an interesting report. I just sent it to you all, and I suggest that you really go through and read that to see the complexity and the issues that they deal with, both political issues and how they deal with those, the technical issues. And certainly Key Biscayne is not the only city that has had professional people come in to advise them on traffic calming. Okay, this is something that can snowball. Okay, it's not desired by everybody, but if you do it, you need to do it methodically and properly, and so that you can control. So that you can have some control, and it doesn't get out of control for you, because we certainly can't afford the first installation, let alone the 500th installation of traffic calming that somebody might desire on their street. So just do it methodically and professionally. We currently have a garbage collection system where if you desire to have your can at the side yard of your property, you can have it there. You tell the village, I want my garbage picked up from the side, and our contract provides for that. So I don't know what we'd be changing. I guess you want to get them all back there. That's your theory. Again, we have a ticketing procedure. Use it on the first try.
I'm sorry, that's time. Thank you, Dan.
Chuck Ross, 1166 Griffin Boulevard. I agree with what all of the speakers in front of me said about changing the method of collecting the yard trash and placing it, or rather, side yard pickup. It should stay as it is. So I won't reiterate everything they said, but I agree 100%. As far as the traffic calming, it's interesting that you put this on here, and at the same time we have a potential ordinance that is going to, something that might be discussed with regard to traffic calming techniques for the Public Safety Advisory Board. The fact of the matter is, if you're going to do any traffic calming techniques, and I actually did what Dan Keys did, I downloaded the Key Biscayne study, and actually Miami Shores did a very comprehensive study last year in 2016. We had our own traffic studies in 05 and 08, which, you know, I could go up when the ordinance is read and repeat. What I'm going to say now is that there's really no point in having the type of board, because it's a traffic engineer that needs to design these systems. And we don't, unless we have several traffic engineers sitting in the, living in the village, I don't think we need that board. But I'll save the time of going up and speaking again now about that, since Harvey has it in the discussion items. It's irrelevant in your discussion items if we're going to talk about the board. As far as Key Biscayne, Dan said that already. Lowering the speed limit, said already. There's numerous hoops you have to go through in a traffic study. And some of the criteria, for example, are how many crashes you have in the village on a particular street. You have to get the permission, I think, of 2/3 of the residents that live on the street. You have to have so many vehicles that travel upon the street, X amount. You have to have so many vehicles that are in the top 85th percentile, meaning top 15% are speeding in excess of 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. And then there's just the cost. North Miami just put in a traffic circle nearby. I looked up the proposal, which was done in 15 and just installed not too long ago. They did 2 traffic circles. Just the construction alone for the traffic circles cost $250,000. That doesn't include the engineering, the design work, which I think is part of engineering, I'm sorry, the traffic study itself, which you have to do. So I would put the ordinance on hold, and I would put all of the items that Harvey suggested here on hold. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Bob Anderson, 119th Street in 11th Place, and this has to do with 9A. And one of the things in there that concerns me is the description of that particular board, what the job duties are. I think it needs to be refined a little bit more so that they do the research and approximate costs of what they're going to be proposing to the commission. So the commission doesn't go ahead and hand off something to the manager, there still needs to be a lot more work done on it. I think the board needs to do the research.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? No other public comments? We'll close the public comments clause. Are there any responses to public comments?
As part of the discussion items.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I will, if you want, I guess.
Do you want to respond now, or you want to go to discussion?
No, I'll wait till the discussion.
Okay. I did want to address a couple things that were mentioned briefly, that had to do with some things I've talked to the city manager about, which has to do with both the stop sign issues. I spoke to the chief about those. I think there's a very avid and strong conversation we've had about trying to figure out how to deal with just not only people coming through and passing through, but residents as well that are running stop signs. And they're not rolling through them, they're literally just going through them. So it's one thing if you come into the neighborhood and you don't know that there's a stop sign, there may be some issues that are blocking your ability to see the stop sign. I found a couple signs where the visibility lines were problematic. A couple stop signs on 112th and 10th was one I mentioned to the chief and to the village manager that they're getting ready to trim and make sure it can be seen. 8th and 117th is another one. So there's reasons why people are running the stop signs and not, some of them are because they're visiting the park and they don't know. Others ones are simply because they're just speeding through the park and they're just ignoring them. And some of them are residents. A lot of them are residents. And I think I'm going to make a shout out to the residents to please talk to your neighbors, and also I know the chief will be enforcing it, but have a conversation that this is a neighborhood that shares pedestrians and it's a safety issue. There was one comment on one-ways, and when we get to the item, I'll talk a little bit more about that. But there are some issues with making streets that already are slowed because it's two ways and very narrow, that when you make them a one-way traffic, the engineers that I spoke to, that can actually create the counter problem, which is they now have a wider street to now gain speed on. So just sharing that point. All right, thank you, that's all.
If I may.
Yeah.
Just a couple of items on things that were brought up with regard to Main Shore Country Club and the golf course. And if there's an increase, I don't know if you're new to the neighborhood or if there's suddenly an increase in the incidents of balls coming over, like if they remove some foliage. I don't know, I haven't really studied it, but perhaps Mr. Manager, we can reach out to Miami Shores and advise them that our residents are experiencing this, and I mean, we can't tell them how to run their business, but perhaps if they put some foliage in there, it would shield from some of those balls coming across.
I'll be glad to reach out to them.
Just so that they're aware of the impact they're having outside of their feet there.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Also, with regard to the landlord-tenant inspections, and this was implemented a while back, and we've been through a couple of transitions, so what was originally a plan sort of changed into something else. My understanding was that it was the building official that was going to do those landlord-tenant inspections, not the code officer. Is that right?
It's been a combination of the two during this round, because we were behind on getting the letters out, and so we're sort of throwing everything at it right now to try and get them done. They weren't done in 2016 at all. And so we're playing catch-up right now. Going forward, we'll be more prepared for it.
And I do know that as they were trying to roll out the ordinance, implementation of the ordinance, there were some negotiations and some discussions with CAP and possibly some other people who handle those kind of inspections. But they couldn't come to terms with the right amount for the inspection, or it wasn't, there wasn't enough volume for that vendor, those vendors to have taken interest in doing the project for us. And that's how I think that I don't know if it was yourself or one of the prior managers decided, well, let's try to do it in-house, and the building inspector who has that discipline was going to be a large part of it. So if that's not working out, a couple of months down the line, we could always find a different way to do it, but we needed to get it implemented. And then the last thing was the gentleman who came and spoke about swales, protecting the swales. And being on a corner property, I totally empathize with you. I'm not on a corner, but I'm the first lot after an empty lot. And happen to be on a street that gets a lot of collection of water as it comes off the bridge and flooding. So that swale is often very damp. And even across from me, where the church is, their swale is always damp. And of course, that light is red and an emergency vehicle has to go through. They're going to, crush that swale when they go through and make some damage. So I know recently there was a code initiative to remove items from the right-of-way, the little white reflectors and whatever people had put down to protect those swales. It is in our code that you're not supposed to have items in the right-of-way such as those, but I think that we really need to do some brainstorming and consider what we can put in place so that you don't have that kind of damage on your property, on the swales, because it does take away not only from your curb appeal, but from the entire village when we have trucks that are eating up the grass. So it's something we'll have to work on.
Just in case anybody just wants to look at it, this is how bad the sidewalk is broken. You could just, the worst ice I've ever seen.
If it helps you, I live on a corner property, and I have the small domes, and they get relocated and done, and it is a very difficult problem. You have an old city and large things, and it is a very difficult problem to overcome, because the truck sizes don't get smaller. And I understand what you're going through. It's just a very difficult problem to solve in general. And there are areas, especially with our roads deteriorating in the ends as well. So we do need to look at some possible solutions that are helpful to homeowners. Thank you.
Just today, my truck had to back up because they started to tear the warehouse. That was so bad.
Thank you very much. Any other comments for 6A?
Just one more thing. I remember when we first moved in here, there used to be signs that said no through trucks. And that might have been like a carryover from the old days where we were able to not have big trucks come into the village. I'm not sure if it's a traffic issue or a sign issue for the size of vehicle that can come through. But I'm sure that in that corner, even as the weed is going to create some damage when they go.
Lawn trucks, trailers,
Just about everything when it takes the corner because of the curb problem.
they don't have the steering radius that they used to have 20 years ago.
But however, just to make a comment and also dovetailing off of what you just said, Commissioner Ross, in one of those pictures I'm seeing where a truck is about to take down a wire, so it may be something that we need to look into if there was signage or something like that about no-through trucks, or maybe restrictions or something that we can look into. It's not that picture, there's another one where it looks like a truck is about to hit a wire. So that could be very problematic and create a significant issue.
Yep.
Fixed pictures in there.
I will go through them when I get back. Thank you, I'm past it for now. One other comment I wanted to make was on the trash piles. There is a major issue with trash piles being put out on Saturdays. I know because I've now become the woman who likes to drive around on Saturdays and look at trash piles. We do, and this is a shout out to the residents, to please go online. They did up and put a really nice, easy way for you to tell what time you can put them out, what time you can't. Just for the record, 24 hours before on Monday morning, you can stick it out by 9 a.m. on Sunday to put out your bulk trash. That is, no construction debris is not included in that. You cannot do that. Okay, but other bulk trash and yard debris you can stick out 9 a.m. Sunday. It's picked up. It can be put no later out than 7 a.m. on Monday morning. Then any garbage cans that you have, if you have cans that are putting out with bulk trash, have to be pulled in the next morning at 9 a.m. Just making sure. On Monday, on Tuesday, when you stick out your garbage only, it can be put out at 5 o'clock p.m., anytime after 5 p.m., and it must come in the next morning at 9 a.m., correct? Making sure. And then finally, on Fridays, when you stick out your bulk, your garbage and your recycling, once again, that's 5 p.m. and then pulled in the next morning at 9 a.m. And ideally, we'd like to get it out early in the morning by 7 if possible. That's not in the code, just to make sure it's out and picked up and you don't missed the pickup. You cannot put out bulk debris after 7 a.m., and the reason why you cannot do that is so that if it's not picked up, you cannot say that you didn't have enough time to put it out. That's why they gave you almost 24 hours to do so, okay? Just want to make sure we're clear on that. Thank you. And that's on the website, so you don't have to remember any of it. Okay. Information updates. Do you want to go ahead and, is there anything on the CAFA you need to add to that, or finances, or you did take care of that? Okay. We're going to move ahead to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. There's no old business, so we're going to go directly to new business, and that's approval of the village manager's contract. So I'm going to open the floor. This is Resolution 2017-32. Attorney Hearn.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, we have two ordinances, though. Yeah.
Did I miss something?
Yeah, 9A, 9B.
Yes, I did. I'm so sorry.
9A is an ordinance 2017-01. It's an ordinance of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, creating new section 2-37 of the Code of Ordinances of the Village of Biscayne Park entitled Public Safety Advisory Board, providing for conflicts, providing for codification, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is second reading, and this is a request to approve and adopt.
Open the floor for public comments on this item.
Barbara Kuehl, 111th Street. I think this is one of those boards that just makes no sense. I don't know why we need it. There was talk about traffic calming, things like that. Again, this is a professional thing. This is not something residents should be doing. We have Crime Watch. Somehow, if there are things that could be done in the neighborhood, it seems like it could be combined with that. I don't even know what the real purpose is for this. And to me, it just seems like a waste of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Janie Anderson, 11th Place and 119th Street. I spoke in favor of this last month, but in all honesty, when I think about it, while it has potential, I'm concerned that its greater potential would be to dissolve into something eerily reminiscent of a thread on social media, where you're going to be presented with a laundry list of things that people want, but there's no backup, there's no cost, there's no feasibility, logistics, and in some cases, things that people throw out aren't even necessarily legal, like speed traps and ticket quotas. And then we get frustrated because it doesn't happen, and we hear a lot of accusations flying. So my concern is this kind of falls under those no good deed goes unpunished thing. And again, unless you're going to tighten up the charge that you would give to those committee members, where they must do all the homework, they must provide all the detail, and it can't just be this little wish list sort of thing, then I have then you might go forward with it. Other than that, I do have a concern.
Thank you.
Dan Keys, 1107 118th Street. Have to come out against this ordinance at this time. I really don't believe that there's going to be a board that is going to have you be able to eliminate the necessity for the consultants that should be hired in the first place to do studies that you might want for traffic calming and so forth. If you have a board that says, we recommend that the village commission hire a professional engineering firm to do traffic studies, and that's all there is to it, great. And that may come back to that board as an arm of public outreach and so forth. But to say that they're going to be able to do the research and the work that's necessary to effectively evaluate traffic calming, for instance, there's other things that certainly the board could do. I just think it's disingenuous, and you're kicking it down the road. If you really think you need to do this, figure out what you can afford to do and do that, and go forward with some of those efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Same item. I'll simply say there was a time when people as far away as Broward County, you say, I live in Biscayne Park, first thing they'd say, oh, the city says, don't even think about speeding. And I think that's really the message it wants to get out there. Fully understand our police force has been decimated and we're building it back up, but I really think that's the most effective and most cost-effective tool. I'd also like to talk about the grant writing board. There again, I think that you're asking volunteers to do the work. There's probably going to be a waste of time. There isn't a lot of money available. A lot of the grants are matching funds. We don't need to be out there fishing for things that we don't really need. And if it is something that we do need, you need to hire a professional. That's the way you got to get it done. For citizens to be involved in that process, going after these things, inevitably, it makes demands on staff for information because they're not going to have it, and we're just going to put another burden on there. Unless somebody, be it the village manager or the commission, identifying grants that are worthwhile, that are going to help us, or all we're going to need, I don't see simply having a board that's going to go around fishing for work to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Judy Hamelberg, 1015 Northwest 116th Street. We've had ecology boards, we've had parks and parkways, we've had code review, we have board after board after board. I've been a part of several of them. We worked our butts off with code review and got our teeth kicked in. We worked and we worked and we worked and we finally kind of sort of quit because what we were proposing got turned and twisted and did not get the vetting that we had given it once it got to the commission. And you guys have to be careful. You start putting things out there and it's a lot of work and you've got to be transparent with it, and so you've got to have somebody on staff, and you've got to have minutes, and you've got to have meetings, and you've got to take notes, and you've got to document, and a lot of work goes into it, and I think if you're going to deal with boards and committees and all that shit, you need to give them the power to do what they're doing on the boards we have now, and just kind of let some of it go a little bit. And I think as far as public safety goes, that's for our police to do. And I'm very proud we have who we have heading up that department now, and I'm sure things will get squared away.
Thank you, Judy.
Chuck Rossman, 1166 Riverview Boulevard. Dan hit upon the key point, and I said this before you approved, or rather, before when this was first put on as a discussion item. If we can't afford to do the projects that might be proposed, what is the point of this board? And the first thing we need to do, if you were even thinking about some of the projects that you might want to consider, we need to find out if we have the funding to do it. Well, what's the purpose of it? We're just spinning our wheels. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Mike Rothenberg. Just according to what she was saying about the laws and bylaws and ordinances, I just really realized how many times, not just myself, but so many people have been spoken to about the way things were designed, which is so, was always for the benefit of the people. But, times just keep changing, and sometimes it would be nice when people are trying to better their property or do things good for the park, that if there was just some leniency rather than somebody just coming to saying to you, you can't do this, or you can't do, even if there was a temporary variance, just to give people a little room to breathe and to give the...
I'm so sorry to do this to you. Unfortunately, it's only talking on this particular ordinance.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. It's not another public comment. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. Welcome to board meetings. Sorry, any other comments? Okay, we'll open the floor for discussion.
Yeah, let me say a couple of things. I've heard a lot of things about the Public Safety Board. We have nothing like it now. Crime Watch has never, ever made a report to the commission. We've had occasionally commissioners sit there, we've had occasionally staff sit there, we've never received a recommendation. If we have sent a recommendation, the commissioners never listened to it. People have complained about speed, I know, for the past 3 or 4 years. Nothing was ever done about it, nothing ever came before the commission saying, hey guys, we've noticed that there's a decrease in tickets. It's never happened. As far as what the board is going to do, let's take a look and see what things they do come up with. Don't immediately assume that whatever we're going to do, whatever they're going to do, they're going to do incorrectly. We have code enforcement. Code enforcement is one of our boards, works very, very well. We have some other boards that don't work so well. This may very well be one of them. We're not telling people they have to be on it. If you don't want to be on it and you don't believe on it, don't be on it. Let some other people. There are a lot of people out there, there's some people I know that I've spoken to that have engineers on their staff that they said would be willing to work along with us. If they work along with us, fine. How can we come up with a dollar amount that we're going to need if we don't even know what we're going to need or what we want to do? We want to do stuff about traffic, we want to do stuff about speed. That's the general idea. Let's get down to specifics, and then we can see what it's going to cost us, what sort of ideas. I spent 2 hours going through the county trying to find what things we needed. Got some great ideas. I was the one that originally found Key Biscayne. Key Biscayne jumped through all the hoops. They lowered their speed limit to 20 miles an hour. They're putting traffic circles in that cost $350,000. That doesn't mean it has to cost us $350,000. Maybe we can do some things much less expensively. Let's see what happens, but let's give this new commission, let's give the board, let's give them a chance to see what they can do. Same thing with grant writing. Let them go out there and see. I'm not going to say, oh no, there are no grants out there. I have no idea. Let them come up with some ideas. And then whatever happens, it's going to come back to the commission to decide anyway whether or not we're going to apply for it. That's the end result. Thank you.
Any other comments? Commissioner Ross?
I gave all my comments when this was brought to us as a proposal, and I'm not going to repeat them all again, they're, on tape, but to say that we have a very limited staff, and these boards do take up staff time. And thank you, Manager, for your report on that, as required by the ordinance, but I've been on the boards, and I understand how much time it is, and not just for the board members, who often get frustrated, as was echoed here tonight, but for staff as well. And it takes away from other things that are very sorely needed, and staff's attention gets split up, and I think it's a detriment to the things that we really need to accomplish.
Commissioner Johnson, Vice Mayor Johnson-Sirletti.
With that said, since we do have a background and a report from the manager, rather than just reading the words on the page, maybe if Manager Manners can maybe explain what went into him coming up with what he presented here. Because in listening to the audience as well, I was for this board, and I think that it shouldn't be discouraged, because I think there's an arm of it that can lend assistance to the commission, because we also are limited in what we can do, and Commissioner Bilt went and used his time to do research, and maybe that's something what he did, for example, is something that this board could do. But I am mindful of some of the comments that the audience has made, as far as we don't want this board to run away and have actually no purpose. So I want to hear a little bit of what Manager Manners looked into when he wrote what we have in front of us here tonight.
I met with Commissioner Tudor, who was the idea behind these two boards, and discussed this with him. And his idea was really to create more of a think tank, if I am correct, and please correct me if I get this wrong, but more of a think tank for residents who have some experience in public safety or grant writing, where they have actual skills that they can, donate their time to this, to meet in, a structured format, and to start looking for solutions. It was actually to aid staff, so that staff time, rather than staff going out and looking for solutions on everything. it would be coming from this board to the commission. If you guys deem it worthy at that point, then it would come back to staff to implement. And so, I mean, that's the synopsis.
So, let's say for example, where I've heard members of the audience make statements that, someone in the board is not qualified to evaluate certain things like the traffic calming and things like that. How would we restrict this board so that it is indeed helpful? Would these board members be doing, let's say, the background legwork, seeing what other communities have done with traffic calming, and then it comes in front of us, the commission, and then we decide whether we're going to hire an outside consultant? Also picking up on what you just said, are we going to have basically qualifications or some sort of standard that whoever joins this board indeed has the background, so that when we are listening to them and they're presenting something, it lends some credence, so that whatever we're getting, we know that it's not a wild goose chase or something like that. I just have concerns, as what was raised in the audience, that this becomes something that just takes time and isn't really useful information.
Well, it will take some time, but the value of the information will really be dependent upon who you appoint to the board. That's, one of those things that, and I think we should probably look at people's experience very, very closely before appointing them to the board. But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater either. Commissioner Bill, while a brilliant gentleman, probably isn't big on traffic studies. He probably doesn't spend a lot of time doing that, but he's found some great information from Key Biscayne. And he put his time and effort into that to provide that. And that saves staff time. We're not out, doing the hunting and searching. It's coming from the board.
I don't know if this will help, but you have items 1, 2, 3, and 4 under section 2, and Attorney Hearn, I'll let you weigh in on this. If we added one line that talks about board responsibilities for research and feasibility, so that we're not, I think one of the comments made from the audience, and I don't recall if it was scary, but it was a very poignant point, which is you do not want to have people have these great ideas, let's say, I don't know, have sidewalks put all over the village was one thing, and then not realize that that's just fiscally impossible for us to do. So we want to kind of make sure that the things that they're looking at are solving a problem within the budgets that we can allow. And so maybe we can talk about research and feasibility, because we do not want to send somebody off in a wild goose chase to do a $5 million project that clearly we had $20,000 to expend. So I think maybe if we put some sort of line in there so that direction is very clear that the board's responsible for research and feasibility with guidance from the manager, so that you can say this year we may have this much funding and that's all we're going to have, so you have to stay within it, as long as there's parameters that are pulling people in. But for example, I spent, and I didn't know that Commissioner Bilt was going to bring this up, but on the traffic calming studies, I don't like to present anything until I have it all together. So one of the things I was looking at was one-ways and all the different traffic calming things to see what could be done in the village and what would be helpful. And it was then I learned that, creating a one-way street from a narrow street actually makes the problem worse, from a traffic engineer. Also finding out things like speed cushions allow pedestrians and bicycles to go through, and they're predominantly more effective in front of stop signs, so it also helps with getting them to stop and at a 15 mile an hour. So there are things I learned from doing this, and although I have an engineering background, I'm not a traffic engineer, so I'm not an expert in that field, and only people who are can do this. But I do think a board member with some either police background, engineering background, things that would help the village, it helps with the legwork, because not all of us can do everything, and the purpose of citizenry boards is one, involvement, and have them talk to community members about what the problems are, and then try and find proposed solutions that are fiscally responsible. But I do agree that it has to have some parameters, so perhaps introducing a line, and I don't know if we can do that on a second reading or if we'd have to come back, but board responsible for the research and the feasibility components with guidance from the manager. I don't know if that could be in the language somewhere or put in some other way so that we can make sure that that's occurring to address a lot of the concerns of the residents.
So from a legal point, it's allowed, I'm just not sure. Let's hear from us, the commission, I guess, and see where.
Okay. Commissioner Trudy, you want to comment since it's yours? You did this, so go ahead.
No, I understand some of the concerns of some of the residents, but I think in the conversations I had with the village manager, I think it helped flesh it out a little bit more. And this isn't, I don't expect, or I wouldn't want to see this board just basically meeting and just going off on their own, deciding, hey, we're going to look into changing all streetlights to red, or, whatever it's going to be. But it would be something from direction from the commissioner or the village manager to say, this is a project that we want to get more information on. We want to do, the lighting. We want to find out about improving, going from the current streetlights to, I'm just throwing this out there, to LED lights. What's out there for us? What are we looking at cost-wise? What would it take to implement that? Instead of having staff and him having to assign somebody from staff to do that, this board could be the research arm of the village, come back with that information to the commissioner, to the village manager, and nothing would go beyond that other than them bringing the legwork and coming back to us with that information so that as an administration, we can make an educated decision. So I don't know, I'm fine with putting in whatever language we need to put in there to clarify that more clearly.
No, line 2 says, Public Safety Board shall respond to the village commission and the village manager's requests. Request is, hey guys, these are a couple of things that you brought up. We'd like you to come up possibly with some figures. What have other people charged? What do you think it may cost us? But my thought is we give these two boards some sort of direction. I know in the past, we've created boards and given them absolutely no direction. And that's a problem. I think we're going to be a little bit more strict about it and say, hey, these are a couple of things that we're looking at. As I was saying, that was my idea about the speed limit, the traffic calming. So when the board comes into effect, we've got some sort of an idea, things that we want them to look at. Will they come up with some ideas of their own? Yeah, but they can do the research. The research takes lots and lots of time, and we don't have staff. As I say, when I was trying to find out about the signs for the medians, I made 35 phone calls. Yeah, 35 phone calls to finally find the person that we actually need to speak to about it. That takes time. We haven't got staff to do it. This is to take some of the burden away from staff.
And I had about 10 phone calls for traffic issues too.
Yeah. But I think, as I said, I think 2 has enough in there as far as we can't be unbelievably specific about what we want them to do, but we give them direction, these are the things we'd like you to look at.
Attorney Hearn, is the language, do you think, already contained in 2, so we do not have to add that?
There's certainly no legal requirement to add that. And 2 does talk about the responding to your wishes. And 1 and 3, 3 is an annual report, and 1 is review and recommend to the Village Commission public safety management policies, but you can give them direction if you decide to modify that.
So my thought is not annual. When they finish looking at something, bring it in, even if it's a month or 2 months.
That's direction.
Yeah, direction.
Vice Mayor?
I see that the language says it, but I still, in reading it, it seems as if the board and its members may be kind of left to their own devices. If there could be language that says like something in the beginning, like upon the commission's direction, the Public Safety Advisory Board shall review X, Y, Z. Without that, just reading that, I still feel like almost the board would be sitting there not quite knowing what direction to go in. Yes, it does say it will respond to the village commission's request if the commission makes a request, but what if they don't?
There's no requirement that the board would have to meet if they have nothing to do. I mean, I think it's up to the commission to give them some direction, and during times when there isn't direction, the boards, can have a month or 2 months off.
It doesn't require them to meet every month if there's nothing.
So based on what the Vice Mayor's thought is, number 2 already has to respond to the Village Commission, number 1 does not, and taking off from her language, you could start that sentence with upon Village Commission direction, comma, the Public Safety Advisory Board shall review and recommend. It's second reading, so you have to have the exact language in front of you to approve, so that's why I'm giving it to you, if that makes sense. And 3 is just an annual report, you can keep that in or strike it, whatever you want to do with that one.
For 3, the only thing I'm concerned about is it's after the fact. And the whole idea of this is advisory, so my concern with 3 is, and especially prior to budget season, which is when we're going to be doing this. If it's an annual report, I definitely want it to be done prior to budget season. So,
Again, you can let them know when you want an annual report.
okay, so that doesn't, that's okay. Any other comments? Okay,
I don't see anywhere where you refer to some qualifications, which I think are important, particularly for this board, but I don't see where we're adding anything. And if you're not going to take my word for it, it's a senior commissioner who gave a lot of years to the village. I think we should take his recommendation to tighten up the language rather than just push it along for the next reading.
I'm sure I'm not clear with what, when you say tightening up the language, I'd like to be, can you be more specific on what things you're looking to have in here to tighten up the language?
Well, it was Commissioner Anderson, I think those were his words, to tighten up the language and make sure that you're being specific as to what you're asking the board to do. You suggested, Mayor, qualifications like engineering, which would be important in, those disciplines would be important in addressing the topics that are going to be brought to the board. So we don't put it in the audience, in the ordinance, then it's free for interpretation for the next board member or the next commissioner.
Where would it be appropriate, Attorney Hearn, to put in sections to recommended qualifications for board members?
Well, I would suggest you either have a separate letter or under B's, you could put board membership / qualifications. At that point, I don't know if you know what those qualifications are, or if you want that to be brought back for a second reading at the next meeting, but if you know exactly what you're looking for, I guess you
I think we should talk about that so that the language can be tightened up. I think that's the whole point. I think that's a good place to put it. I think we could have, there's always like an open-ended other, which you can put something in there, so if there's special qualifications that can be considered. But I do think people that have engineering backgrounds, I think, of course, obviously police backgrounds would be helpful. I'm just mentioning a couple. Anybody that has some sort of background in lighting or electric, because that's part of the public safety. These are just things coming to my mind. I'd appreciate anybody else to join in here. Commissioner Tudor, since this is yours, are there other areas that you saw?
Well, I'm not so
And there could be other
held
things.
back on the qualification aspect, because what I don't want to do, for example, is discourage somebody who has strong researching background, and that may not be what their official job is. And since they're not going to be researching a lot of these things on their own, different items, this is going to be things that they're going to be getting direction from the village manager or from the commission. I really see them basically really doing more of the heavy lifting on the research aspect, and coming up with some cost, studies. So I don't know if really having buttoned-down qualifications, an engineer or somebody in office, I don't know if that necessarily is a do or die.
Can we do it without putting it in the ordinance? Could we do it as a recommendation, looking for people who have these experiences and or others? Can we do this as a search piece as opposed to being in the ordinance?
You can decide to do that, or you can just take applications and then have the discussion of what you would like to see at the time you get your application.
I'm happy, I'm satisfied with that, because we've done this over the years. We've had a lot of board members who didn't have the qualifications, who came back and did an outstanding job. So, I'm comfortable with that, but I don't know how you feel about that, Vice Mayor, because that actually was your suggestion originally and not mine.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still like to see a listing of qualifications, because yes, we can discuss it, but it depends on the pool that we receive, and if there's something that's presented, it's not to discourage anyone, but it's kind of to make sure we're getting what we would select. And you're right, someone could have a great research background. Maybe that's a qualification. That could be something that we list. If you're someone in your work, you do research and you're able to decipher things and present information, well, that could be something else that's added. But I think that there should still be something listed so that these items are of such an importance to me that I think that it really should be tight in how we look at it. And if it's not presented there first off, we don't want to be going through certain applications that then it's more time on the back end where we're deciding not to appoint someone and, we don't have any other backup because maybe we haven't. If it was there, that would encourage those people with those qualifications to come forward and put their application in and be members of the board. That's just how I would view it. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but...
I'm fine either way, as long as that is, I'd like to see it be more of a technical board, because I think we would get a lot more out of it.
Even the Code Enforcement Board has certain recommendations, but none of which are definite. They don't say members of Code Enforcement have to be either an engineer.
I'm not suggesting...
No, that's what I'm saying. And that's a very important board. I think there are people who are really involved in this, and they really want to do work with this. They can do it. The technical stuff, we'll have to leave that to the couple of people that possibly are on the board that are technical.
Okay, so we have to have a consensus here. Do we want it to be in the, let's just clear this up so we can move forward. Do we want it to be in the actual ordinance, or do we want to go ahead and put that in the recommendations for applications? That's really the two decisions. So, does anyone want to have a consensus on that? So, Commissioner Ross?
I'd like to see in the ordinance as specific as possible.
We don't have to say
Exactly what the mission is going to be.
but I think that it should be articulated in the ordinance, what we're looking for. Without it, we're starting off this board without giving them any real guidance or direction, and whatever may be the idea today of the 5 people sitting up here may not be the same idea that someone else is going to have down the line. So I like being open about it and forward about it and having it all set out. I think you already articulated, Vice Mayor, if you want to the ordinance.
Are we discussing what the board's going to do, or what the qualifications are going to be?
No, whether or not you want it included in the ordinance, the qualifications or what you're looking for, not necessarily that they can't be on it if they're not on it, but some general idea of what you're looking for the board members.
No.
Mr. Tudor?
I don't know if I want to have it included in the ordinance. I see it more as when if it were to get passed, if this ordinance were to get passed, I'd like to see when it's laid out to the public, there be recommendations, we're looking for somebody with skill sets and such, or, strong analytical researching skills. What I don't want to do is kind of paint it into a box in an ordinance, so that if another commission comes on board now, there may be a very qualified person they want, they're like, well, I think this skill set is more important at this time, and now they got to go in and try to change that around. And because what I'm thinking about is, what I don't want to do, for example, is being too tight on the qualifications here. I'd rather have them as a recommendation, because what I wouldn't want to do is, for example, if Commissioner Bilt was not a commissioner, he did a lot of research, put in a lot of his own time, that would be somebody that I would want to see with that type of researching ability on this board. And I wouldn't want to have to all of a sudden negate him because we're looking for some type of specific, job description.
I'm going to split the difference here and suggest that there will be some language in there, and that the intent of the board is to have individuals with qualifications that align with and some generic, very simple language that encourages that without having to be specific enough to say what those are. Can we do that?
Well, we can do that, but if we were going to approve it tonight, we have to do that tonight.
Okay. So I'm going to propose that we make a language, I'm going to ask you to assist this with me, turning around, that says...
What I would suggest is we would change B to board members / qualifications, and then the sentence after shall consist of 5 members, and if I'm thinking the way you are, you could have a sentence, though not required, experience in the fields of blank, blank, and blank, and/or blank are preferred.
Fine.
But we need to have those blanks.
The blanks I would suggest to be engineering, electrical, police, I would just do engineering in general, so you don't have to just say traffic engineering, so engineering in general. Research, analytical skills. Anything I'm missing?
Possibly law. Law enforcement. Law enforcement.
Planning? Urban planning, yes.
Urban planning.
Anybody else? I'll take it from the audience. Anybody else I missed? Okay,
You have 5.
that's fine.
Okay, so I'm going to read this.
Construction's fine too. We can add construction.
Okay. Okay, so under 2-37B, it will say board membership / qualifications. There'll be a new second sentence that would say, though not required, experience in the fields of engineering, electrical, law enforcement, urban planning, construction, research and/or analytical experience are preferred.
How about municipals? Could we do something municipal or no? Municipal, or is that urban planning, is that included? No?
Urban planning, law enforcement,
Okay, we're good. That's good.
And then the other, just so we don't forget, I believe there's consensus, 2-37, D1, there'll be, at the beginning of that first sentence, upon village commission direction, comma, and the remainder of that sentence.
Yep.
So,
Do we have consensus and a motion to approve both of those changes as amended? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? I'm sorry, no, we have to take a vote, someone else.
Before we close discussion on it, yes, if I could just add, because there was a comment made early on in this discussion that Crime Watch has never given a report on public safety, and I just want to, for the record, note that that is not the role of Crime Watch. Crime Watch, and it's posted on our village website, the Biscayne Park Crime Watch is a network of over 600, maybe even more now, residents that are the eyes and ears of the neighborhood reporting suspicious activity to the Biscayne Park Police Department. In addition to reporting these activities to the police department, Crime Watch has on several occasions had meetings with the community. It's usually in the way of coffee with a cop or something like that. And at those meetings, there are generally reports given on criminal activities, burglaries, cars broken into. Those kinds of reports are done. But the role of a report on public safety in general, that's not the role of Crime Watch.
I agree with you, actually, it's not.
Crime Watch is independent. Excuse me, we're not, let's stick to the days here. Finish your comments and then Commissioner Bowe.
Make that clarification.
No, I agree with you, and that's one of the things I once had suggested to Chuck. It would be nice if Crime Watch could give a report to the village commission.
But that's not the role.
I know it's not their role, and this is going to be one of the roles, so we have some sort of idea of what's going on. That's all.
Just to be clear, the role of any data or statistics coming out is out of our police enforcement, our police department, our chief. And Chief, would you agree with that? So I'm not speaking for you? That's a nod of the head for those at the camera aren't here. That's a yes. Okay, having said that, can we close discussion now? Okay. We have a recommended to amend. We have a roll call for that, as amended.
Commissioner
yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Mayor Trumbull?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson Sardella?
Yes.
Commissioner Ross?
No.
Motion passes. 4-1.
Okay. Attorney Hearn, I believe we have ordinance 9B.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2017-02 is an ordinance of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, creating new section 2-38 of the Code of Ordinances of the Village of Biscayne Park entitled Grant Writing Advisory Board Provide for conflicts, provide for codification, provide for severability, provide for effective dates, second reading, request to approve and adopt, public hearing first.
Open public comments for this ordinance.
Barbara Kuhl, 111th Street. I think this is also a waste of time, this ordinance, forming this board. You know, I feel that we have needs in this community. One of them, things that cost a lot of money, one of them is roads. We want to improve the medians, we want to make improvements. And it seems like this is going to be one of those things that I just want to fix the roads. I don't want to do storm surge resurfacing. I don't want flood water going out to the canals. We ended up with this ridiculous $150,000 survey that we got on a free grant, which is, I think, what we're going to end up with. And it's a waste of my taxpayer dollar. I don't want to spend this money, and I don't want to go off on everything, all of these grants, because half the time the grants come with something that we don't want. And we end up saying, well, but we get free money, but it's really not what we need and what we want. I'd like to fix our roads. I'd like you to come up with a plan, a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan. How much is it going to cost to start fixing our roads? And let's just do it. And I don't want this to be, well, the group is working on a grant. I don't pay this group. We pay a village manager. You commissioners were elected. Do your jobs. And Harvey, as far as we don't have staff, you know what? To me, that's what commissioners are elected for. The 35 phone calls you made, that's what I expect commissioners to do. And I expect our manager, when the commission tells him, you know what, we're having problems with our roads, they're broken down, what can we do? I expect our staff that we pay to research this, to call and say, this is the village manager, not on an advisory board. What credentials does that person have? You wasted 20 minutes going over the qualifications. I have never seen a commission fill a board if there were 5 seats open and you had 3 engineers and 2 pastry chefs. You put the other 2 on. If there are 5 openings and 5 people apply, they're going to be on the board. So it's nice to think you're going to have engineers and electrical people and whatever. It's not going to happen. And, you know, people get paid for a living to do this stuff. And I can't see people spending the kind of money that you need to pay people to actually get a good report. And I don't want volunteers doing some kind of report. I want professionals. That's why I pay my tax dollar. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Dan Keys. Have to echo a lot of what Barbara said. Chairman of Parks and Parkways Board here, and we had an instance last year where there was a grant for some tree planting available, and we were 5 minutes into the process. The manager dumped the process onto us, and we took it on, and 5 minutes into the discussion in the board as to what project to do and how to do it and what it would take to implement and so forth, we found out that there was so much that needed to be decided either by the commission and or the manager in terms of commitment of manpower and so forth after the grant was if we won the grant, the implementation of the grant. And it just didn't make a lot of sense. There is nothing stopping the manager of our village from seeking out volunteers that are qualified in certain areas throughout our village, through your interaction with expertise. And I'm going to go back to the last one because you're going to find out this is going to be an issue, okay? Listen, Commissioner said we really ought to look at traffic calming. You know, I know you're an engineer, I know you're a former police officer, a current police officer, I know you work for FPNL, and, you know, you can advise us on certain things. Can I call upon you for advice certain times? And then the manager has to do his job to a certain extent. And honestly, the manager is in a position to pull in these resources and actually then, based on his desires for managing the community, moving this forward in a certain direction and bringing it to you. I think the idea that you're going to be able to write most grants, 95% of the grants, without significant involvement with staff anyway, it is not going to happen. Maybe at the very least, okay, spend your time looking for grants out there that nobody's going to have time to do, to actually implement. So and therefore, why do that? And it's said here before, boards take time. Clerk has to do the minutes and manage the minutes and the website and so forth for that. And trust me, there was plenty of interaction. There is plenty of interaction between the clerk and board chair people. And not to mention the annual reappointment of board members and so forth. I just think that if you all cultivate people who know things in our community, okay, and funnel towards the village manager, okay, as resources, they don't have to make telephone calls, a lot of people, okay? They'll be able to answer the question. Pick up the phone and ask so-and-so, what do you know about this, and who can I call in the county to get that? That's how you get things done. However, you wouldn't have to make 35 phone calls if somebody in our community who handled stop signs in the county. All right, thank you.
Any other public comments? Okay, open the floor for discussion.
Actually, I'd like to have the village manager discuss the summary he wrote up regarding the grant writing board.
Okay, what would you like to know?
We sat down and talked about this for a while, and one of my main focuses for bringing this board forward was to identify additional funding sources and to help alleviate some of the manpower issues with the village hall. Can you let me know, it's kind of laid out in here, but can you discuss some of the positive benefits that you see from this board?
Exactly that. The reality is that with grants, it does take time to locate them, to review them, and hopefully the board could review them not only for need, but we want to look at the back end of it, the reporting requirements as well, because that can suck up a lot of time. I've encountered grants before that were, like a $2,500 matching grant that we probably spend $5,000 just in staff time alone for the reporting requirements, so that's easy to do. So hopefully the board would be able to screen some of that out. It will take staff time, and that's going to be part of it. It will take some staff time, but hopefully if we have experienced grant writers, and again, it's a matter of who we appoint to the board, or who the commission appoints to the boards. If they're experienced grant writers, they know what things to look for to make this actually a feasible and beneficial board for the village.
Thank you.
Any more comments?
Well, just one of the issues that was brought up, I think, at the last commission meeting when we were discussing this item was that there was a concern by some residents that this board will be writing and submitting grants just on their own. But that's not how I envision this board. This, similar to the Public Safety Advisory Board, this board will be given direction by the village commission on specific items that we're interested in, that we're looking for possible financing sources for. And then once they actually do the research, they would actually submit that to the village manager, and the village manager would then, I guess, evaluate it. What would you see your process being at that point?
Yeah, once it comes to me, I'd be looking at it for really feasibility. It would be more checking to make sure that the board and I agree that, as far as the accuracy of their reports, is this grant feasible? Is this grant practical? What are the benefits versus the back end reporting? The expenses involved in doing the grant, because grants sound great, but there's always an expense if it's just the copying, or it could, go beyond further if you need actual study or research. So there's a number of different components that we have to go through and look at.
I just spoke to Dave Casotti yesterday. I do have some good news, which I'll just shout out. I'm not going to say it's for sure because he was supposed to text me today, but it looks like we got the $20,000 for the cameras. So that's, it didn't make the governor's cutting floor, at least at this point, that we can see, and we think it's final. So we think we're good, but I'm still waiting to hear the final okay on that. But when I spoke to him about it, we were talking about roads, because that is a big issue in the village. And I see our lobbyist as being part of that assistance for state grants. For example, they're talking about now possibly getting $60, $80 million, and then he's going to have to look into, if we had a grant writing board that would help with this, the feasibility and whether or not what they're asking to do would match for what we want. Because one of the things I think it was you said that, Mrs. Anderson, I think when you stated the issues, you don't want to be going after grants that in the end are things we had to compromise in order to take that money. I'm sorry, this Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. And I think I agree with that. I think you don't want to end up taking money to find out later that the little bit of money you got really wasn't worth the grant that you had. So there's some legal sides to that as well. But I still believe that we cannot, in the fiscal times we're at, with the resources that we have up here, I don't think it's a bad idea to look for money. The worst thing that happens is we don't get it or we don't go after those grants. That's the downside. Or you have a board that takes up a little bit of your time, which I'm sure you will be able to manage without any difficulty in mind. Okay. So for me, I just don't see a huge downside to this. Because of the way the language is in the ordinance, it is a direction from the village manager and from the commission. I think with the language in there, and unless somebody feels like it needs to be tightened further, I think it's very clear in here that it's going to be controlled. So I support this. Thank you. Any other public comments or for discussion? Commissioner Ross? Yes. So when it was introduced as a proposal, I didn't agree with it. I don't agree with it now. I've been on the commission and I've been on the audience at times that we had a volunteer grant writer. And the experience became a total train wreck. Not only because of the person who was, spearheading the grant writing, but also it created a lot of rift in the community. It split people apart. It had to do with pathways. It was one of the ARA grants that federal government came out with, and it was filtered down to the county. And it consumed so many of our resources to accomplish nothing in the end. I mean, from staff time to spending time at village commissions, to just debating it, to committee meetings, to it just, someone used the word snowball, it just became a huge avalanche. So I don't want to see us get back into that situation, and by formally creating this board through an ordinance, there's nothing to prevent that from happening again. One of the suggestions was made that we could use people within the community that have those disciplines, that have that expertise. And of course, everyone's busy. It's hard to get a volunteer to commit the time to it, but it's happened. We've gone that route before. We had a volunteer write a grant for the shade structures that we got at the village. It was matched, but we got some portion from, I believe it was some dermatologist doctors group. We also had, we've had a couple of situations like that, where one person took point and said, yeah, I'm going to help the administration get through this. And what I would suggest is, rather than formalizing it in a board, is for each of us, the commissioners, and even people in the audience, if you know someone who has this expertise, then by all means, introduce them to the manager, and let's, tap into that resource in our community. Another thing that I think is sort of an impediment to going forward with just researching grants is that this commission has not sat down to work out a strategic plan to select the priorities and what are the things that we're going to get behind
and support. Where do we want to invest our resources and our time? And if we ever sit down and do that, then, that'll be sort of a base for those volunteer efforts to pursue grants and pursue funding that could be available out there. But until we sit down and say, well, we're going to make it a priority to change the lighting in the village, or we're going to make it a priority to fix our streets now that we're asking people to put in driveways and we're complaining if their driveways are a little crumbly when our streets are as crumbly. I think that is a step that we need to take, is we need to sit down, have a discussion amongst ourselves, and select what those priorities are going to be. And then that's the base to go forward with some of these other things. No, Vice-Mayor?
I don't have an issue with providing some structure. I do agree with people in the community volunteering. It's something that I said during my campaign, that I think there's a lot of brilliant people in our community. I don't have a problem necessarily with it being structured in a advisory board. It also brings things to the light and makes things transparent, rather than the manager having off-the-record conversations with volunteers. But in reading the language here, I would like to see it that the board is moving forward with researching grants that are prompted from request by the manager or the commission, once the commission decides based on the community's needs of what we need. For example, the roads. If we're saying that we want to fix the roads, then we give the advisory board the direction that we're looking for grants for roads. What can you bring back to us that we can use for that? The way it reads right now, I'm not seeing, the way it's stating the grant writing advisory board shall seek out grants that are consistent with the village commission's policy and goals and adopted plans. I have to agree with Commissioner Ross that if our policies aren't clear yet, I would prefer it that they're only moving forward on things that we're giving direction on, and that's when they're actually looking for a grant.
Do you have a language recommendation change?
Something like the grant writing advisory board shall seek out grants upon the village commission's request for particular items of the village need. Attorney Hearn, you can help me out if you understand what I mean here, because I think that the advisory board should be meeting or doing this only upon the need of the community, and not just to be seeking grants.
So we have section C above that says the board shall act as an advisory board to the commission or consultant or support services be furnished to the board must be requested from and approved by the village commissioner or village manager.
Right, but that's not what I mean, because that's just saying all consultant or support services.
Yeah, so they're actually, okay, so you could say the grant writing advisory board shall seek out grants. I think it's simple as a odd village commission request, and still keep the rest of the sentence in, because it's going to be consistent with our commission policies, or it's not requested by the village.
Right, but the way it reads right now, it's kind of just, it's a completely undefined term, and it gives no direction.
Well, we could put in that, on direction of the village commission, village manager, comma, the grant writing board shall seek out.
I mean, you could just say the grant writing advisory board shall seek out grants upon village commission request, and take out the rest of that sentence then if you like. And that's just if you're requesting it, they're there to assist you.
Is there consensus for that?
I think I would like to see it a little bit more open-ended. One of Rox's example was great about the shade over the rec field, the top lot, I guess that's what it was. Who would have thought, I never would have thought, oh, that's one of those things we want you to look for.
I think that's going to be covered because the village manager of the village commission, so if we add the word village manager in, there's going to be conversations. I don't think by restricting some direction, that doesn't mean if they say, hey, we have this idea, we'd like to do this, we'll say, okay, I don't think we're not going to listen. It's a two-way conversation.
Okay, as long as they can in fact say, hey, we found these other couple of things, you might be interested. We're not going to go any further with it, but take a look at them.
then they would come to you, and then you would request them to go.
Right, okay, then that's fine.
And I'm sure that we talked to the village manager, who will also come to us and have some conversation. Okay, so with that, is there a consensus upon that language change?
Yes.
Yes?
Chairman, can you read it again?
Sure, so it's very simple. I've just recommended that under D, duties and responsibilities, it would say the grant writing advisory board shall seek out grants upon village commission request, period, and take out the remainder of the sentence.
Yes.
Okay, is there consensus on that now?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Any other discussion on this item? Okay, is there a motion to move as amended?
I make a motion to approve the ordinance as amended.
Is there a second?
A second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Tudor?
Yes.
Commissioner Bill?
Yes.
Mayor Trentman? Yes. Vice Mayor Jocelyn Sordell?
Yes.
Commissioner Ross? No. Motion passes 4-1. I would like, hold on, I'll wait on that. Okay, under new business, we have approval of the village manager's contracts. Attorney Hearn?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is Resolution 2017-32, which is a resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, authorizing the appropriate village officials to execute the employment agreement between the Village of Biscayne Park and Krishan Manners, appointing Krishan Manners as village manager of the Village of Biscayne Park, providing for an effective date, and consistent with commission direction. And by the way, under my village attorney, I'm going to bring up that we want to get an executive session with the collective bargaining agreement. And that is one of the fortunate exceptions to the Sunshine Law, where we can all sit and talk together and move forward. This is not an exemption under the Sunshine Law, so how we work this, and I appreciate the Commission's efforts, you all met individually with Krishan. He spoke about what he would like to see, you spoke about what you would like to see. And then subsequent to that, I met, conferred with all of you to go ahead and get a consensus without even informing you of the consensus, since I can't act as a conduit, but telling you that you would see that consensus as I saw it with the contract. Then I would then go back to our village manager and walk through some of the issues, and there's some back and forth there, but it's an awkward back and forth because the five of you are individually not in the same room. So I appreciate everyone's efforts and patience on this, including our village manager. So what you have before you is the proposed employment agreement. The terms have been agreed upon by our village manager. I have given you a summary of terms that I'll briefly go over, if that makes sense. The Section 1 talks about duties, and they're in conformance with our village charter and with the Code of Ethics of International City-County Management Association, which is a large, well-respected organization that talks about the role of a manager and how he communicates and works with the commission. Terms of the agreement consistent with our meeting, we decided it would be retroactive to our commission meeting, which was May 2nd, 2017. It has a term which would end on September 30th, 2020, but it automatically does renew. It's a moment for you to see that, unless terminated by commissioner manager. Requires the manager to be exclusively employed by the village. However, he may accept limited teaching, consulting, or other opportunities if approved by this village commission, and if the village commission feels it's in any way, or for any reason, that they can go ahead and restrict or revoke approval subsequent to that if it becomes an issue. The salary as proposed is $82,000. There was some back and forth on a lot of these items. One was a probationary period, and the consensus that I had with conversation with Krishan was 6-month probationary period, retroactive to May 2nd. After that probationary period, within 30 days after, the commission would evaluate the manager, and then subsequent years thereafter, he would be evaluated on it before October 1st of each year. In fact, there was times where you can consider any changes to the salary or benefits. At least that's regularly scheduled. You, of course, could do that at other times if you so chose. There is a change that at least in the document in front of me, it talks about the criteria for that approval. It has the word jointly, which we took out, and Krishan agreed. It's to be developed by this village commission in consultation with the village manager, but ultimately it's the criteria that you decide after you consult with them, and that's an important change to make sure that's in there.
Excuse me, I just want to confirm that's 6B, correct?
That's 6B, correct, ma'am. We have terms for termination by the village commission. We have them for convenience as well as for cause. Either way, as you're aware, under our charter, there is a name-clearing hearing if necessary. But if you decide for convenience, that's just for any cause. And if so, you would be paying a severance if it's after the probationary period, which caps out at 16 weeks. It starts at 4 weeks after probation. Anything before probation, there's no severance. And each year you get 4 more weeks. Krishan will get 4 more weeks, so capping at 16 weeks. If these terminated for cause, which are just specific items that are things like malfeasance and misconduct in office, things that our manager is not going to be doing, but if he did, you would be able to terminate for cause without severance. The automobile allowance and communication equipment are the same as the prior managers at $400 for automobile, $100 for phone service, basically. There's some professional dues to the typical associations in Miami-Dade County and the International City Manager. As far as time off, and this was I think a very good conversation I had with our manager. As you know, you've all been involved even before, the time off we have now in our policies, which are for all employees, the managers agreed to accept. So he would get basically 1/3 of the 3-week period that's remaining. So he would have a week. But the issue that we have had over time is we prepay the vacation. So on October 1st of each year, each employee gets 3 weeks to use for that year. Not that the manager has decided on it, but you'll see in many places, you just earn as you go. And the manager is committed to taking what any employee gets. He's not asking for any more than that for his time off. But it's committed that prior to October 1st, he will come with a policy to address that issue for all employees, which is important when we do our collective bargaining agreements too. We're trying to make that consistent, which would be nice. The manager had asked, and this is one of the reasons why you look at the severance, has been back down a little bit, to have some comp time because of the sheer amount of hours that he does, and you all know the hours that he does. And it's not unusual in these type of contracts, which would be 40 hours of comp time as opposed to getting additional vacation as prior managers have. The importance of this comp time, it's recognized that it must be used within the year, and if it's not used within the year, it goes away, and if there was a separation, it's not considered gained as a right, so it would not be paid out. So I think it was a nice compromise between you and this commission and the manager. The other terms of the contract are health, dental, disability. It outlines retirement. The life insurance policy is different than other employees, but typical of managers, there's a life insurance policy attached, which would be in the amount of 1 year's salary, not the payment, but the life insurance amount to that amount. We indemnify him, we bond him, just very standard terms. So that's the contract as proposed. I appreciate everybody's efforts. I know it wasn't easy, but everybody really participated, and that made it, I think, very good for Krishan. So that's it for proposed for approval. Or questions?
Open for discussion. Commissioner Ross.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, when you say year, what do you do with the 40? Is it a fiscal year or is it a calendar year?
It's for the comp time?
Yeah.
The comp time is a fiscal year October 1st.
Okay.
He would get the 40 hours.
So just like vacation time, it's a fiscal, right
That's
now,
right.
it's fiscal year.
Yeah, everything revolves around the fiscal year with that.
Okay. On section 3, page 208, where it says exclusive employment, it talks about any outside consulting or teaching arrangement shall not commence before December 31st, 2017. I thought that that was a date that was bucked in there from a prior contract, and it didn't really apply to this situation.
Right, it was definitely in a prior contract. When I was looking at doing the probationary period, figured that it would be good during probationary period that he wouldn't have that outside employment. Technically, the probationary period did fluctuate. I think originally I came to you in 9 months, I believe. If you go 9 months retroactive, it's around that time, but if you go 6 months, it's really closer. I could change it just to whatever that time is if you'd like, but that's been agreed to by the manager, so it kind of is a clean calendar year, but that's up to the commission.
Just look like a date thrown in there out of nowhere, especially since it's the end of the calendar year. That's not, we don't usually refer to the calendar year.
Yeah, you're right. You were 100% right, Commissioner, that it was there before, but I also saw it when I was looking at the 9 months, it would end around there.
So, would everyone be comfortable if we make that coincide with the probationary period,
Yeah, I'd be fine.
which is now 6 months instead of...
Yeah, we could just in there that, so not commenced during the probationary period.
Yep.
Yeah, rather than put a date.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Is there consensus there?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Thank you. All right, I'll add during the probationary period and take that out. Thank you.
And then, under section 7, which is the severance pay, paragraph 6, 3 of 8, page 3 of 8, we talk about for each year after the first year, it's 4 weeks, and then for each year thereafter, village manager shall be entitled to 4 additional weeks per year of service. And again, we're still talking about fiscal year, right?
That was my intention, yes.
Okay. With, per year of service with a cap of 16 weeks total severance consistent with state law. My understanding is that the cap under state law is 20 weeks of severance.
That's right. But 16 is still consistent because it's 20 or under.
Okay. So we're cutting back, we're being more restrictive than what the state allows.
That's correct.
16 weeks would take us out 4 years in order to reach that.
Right, he'll get 4 weeks, November 2nd-ish, and then it would be 3 more years. Because he gets it October 1st.
Okay, thank you. I can appreciate how hard it was to have separate conversations with all of us and try to bring those terms together into what you can then we're able to push out to the manager and have that discussion. So thanks very much for your
My
time.
pleasure. Thank you guys for your understanding.
Vice Mayor?
My comment, I think I only have one comment here on section 7 in the termination. And I'm looking at the lead-in paragraph, page 3 of 8 is section 7, paragraph A, where, and you and I had the conversation with regard to section 3.03 of the charter, and understanding that the charter governs. Section 3.03 of the charter requires us to list reasons, or to set forth reasons for the name-clearing hearing.
Correct.
And I just want to be sure that there isn't any confusion in the language, because 3.03 does not differentiate between cause and without cause.
Right.
I think it may be cleared in section D, where just cause is defined and limited to mean those 1 through 7. But if something can be just added here to make it clear that if it's without cause, we still have to list reasons because of section 3.03, and I don't want there to be some sort of conflicting language here.
So we just take out with the line that says with section 3.03 of the charter, and just in accordance with the provisions of this agreement.
No, section 3.03, so your charter is your constitution.
Right.
So that preempts any agreement. So what A says is, this is, the commission wishes to terminate the village manager, it shall do so in accordance with section 3.03, so that's to terminate with or without cause. B is without cause, and if it's without cause, you pay severance. Right. Unless it's probationary. Then if it's for cause, then you don't need to pay severance, but what 3.03 does, it says you have to set forth the reasons. But it's not for a cause, it's for purposes of a name clearing. But really, the important part of our charter is public office, public job is not office, public jobs are a property right under the Constitution. So employees have a right to have due process and to provide what's called a name clearing here.
Right.
So, I'm comfortable if that helps, that this does that, and no matter what happens, we have to go through section 3.03 if asked, unless waived.
So I just want to I'll be very clear, that there is no conflict with the word reason, set forth reasons, that we do not have to set forth reasons as per section 7D if it's not for cause. It's just, that's what I want to make sure, I want to make sure there's no conflict with the charter.
Sure, so if we do it, look at the other way, for cause, you're definitely going to come up with reasons, and you're actually going to have to defend very serious charges. Under B, you can do it without cause. That doesn't mean, though, there's still going to be a section 303 removal procedure where you have to give reasons, okay? Now, I would assume your reasons are related to job performance, but to the extent that they're not, as long as they're reasons, you're okay. This does not, section 3.03, which preempts everything, does not require your termination to be for cause. It requires you to set forth reasons, and it requires the individual to have a right to respond in writing or to hearing.
So it's a B, in other words, it's, just to be clear, so I make sure, it's a B or a D. It's not, you have to do one or the other.
You have to do B or D, and it's always A.
Okay.
Yeah, if that makes sense. But to me, it's very clear. I mean, I could change language if you'd like, but I feel very good about it as far as explaining it.
I just want to make sure it's clear, so that, and I want to be very clear, it has nothing to do with the manager sitting over there. It has to do with standardized contracts. I want to make sure in the language, if possible, that we make sure that we're talking about 4 reasons in B, and that D, if in there, is solely for this, I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to do this legally. I just want to make sure there's no conflict with section 303, and I'm going to defer to the vice mayor and to the attorneys to deal with this.
I would tell you this, that if you were going to terminate the position, whoever's in that position of village manager for cause under 3.03, even though it says set reasons, you're going to give those reasons that buttress D at that time.
I just want to make sure that if it's not for cause and it's just because whatever occurs, that and it's job performance related and it's not a major, because it says, section D, so the audience knows, is very, very structured and very, very specific and very confining. And whereas our charter is a little bit more fluid. And so my concern is that we wouldn't be forced to do provisions in D if it didn't warrant it, i.e. for just cause.
You absolutely do not have to do provisions in D if you're doing it without cause under B.
And that's covered by our charter.
Yeah, our charter just says you have to have reasons. That's right.
Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
I have a question. Because what we've seen happen, the experience of the village has been that the manager resigns. And so what happened with the last resignation was the mayor negotiated some terms for that.
I'm sorry, that is not the case. The mayor did not negotiate anything. That is incorrect.
I want to, because it's been the experience that the manager resigns, do we still have sort of that opportunity to part ways without this name-clearing, extensive, drawn-out process, which, is costly for the individual and for the village?
Right, so under section 8, it allows the village manager to separate or to terminate, it's the actual language. and that's the same as we've always had. So we're not removing, and so, of course, any individual also has the right to resign any position they have, and we can't stop them. Yes, that's still there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, is there a motion to approve with the section 6 be amended as the removal of joint list?
Joint list, that should have been removed, correct.
I make a motion to approve the employment agreement and to prepare a draft and adopt resolution so that it appears on our website.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, or not, so we have to roll call this, or all those?
It's not an ordinance.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Again.
welcome, now you're official. Okay, discussion item 12B by Commissioner Harvey Turner,
Bring back up 12.
which is lowering the speed limit to, just a discussion items on lowering the speed limit, changing out of yard trash and household sidewalk pickups.
Yeah, because of sunshine, we can't talk to each other. So I have no idea how any of the commissioners feel about some of these items. In the past, we lowered the speed limit to 25. It seemed to have worked very well. My thought is a lot of other communities, like the one I showed, Key Biscayne, I believe Victoria Park up in Fort Lauderdale, they've lowered theirs to 20. How does everybody else feel about it? Any thoughts, anyone?
Open floor for discussion.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I'll bring up the traffic calling stuff, because coincidentally, I've been looking at traffic calling probably for 20 years that I've lived here. I agree with the comments that when our police force was fully operational and very active on the traffic enforcement, there was much less issues. And I can only share a brief story with you. I attempted to wave down a gentleman who was, and I only was a gentleman because the car was completely smoked. And I'll just leave it, I'll leave the story briefly in that they were not happy that I, very smiling and waving and begged for them not to run the stop sign because there was children around. And they rolled down the window, said some very not nice things, and made some threats. I don't want to be in the position of residents, whether I'm the mayor or just an everyday resident, and doing a stupid thing, which the chief abruptly corrected me on, was in the attempt in trying to get people to obey the law. It is sometimes very difficult to do so in the limitations we have with the amount of coverage we have. I'd like to look at traffic cushions. I did spend some time speaking to a traffic engineer. I also spoke to the village manager about it. I spoke to the chief about it. And I will tell you, I learned a couple of things, and I'll share with you what I learned. Traffic cushions are a little bit less obnoxious in that they do slow people down around 15 miles an hour. The idea of putting them in front of the stop signs by the traffic engineer seemed to be a solution to force the idea of people not bolting through them. What I did also learn, though, is that on narrow streets, that if you make them one way, they become an open avenue to increase speed, not decrease speed. Also, there's a view issue that when you have streets that have a lot of openness to them, they tend to stop the stop signs more than when they're closed in, they tend to miss them. So we do have a lot of streets in the village where we have to look at specific issues that are causing the problem, because it's very easy to throw something out there as a solution that can in turn not necessarily solve the problem. So there are issues of visibility of our sight lines and bushes and hedges and things in the way. There are sightline issues that must be addressed first. I think that needs to be the first step that has to happen here, just to make sure we cover that. The other issue is a misconception that traffic only occurs on the street of the people who blog and talk about it. So I want to be very clear on this. We have traffic, and Chief, if you'll please, I'm going to ask a question of you if you don't mind coming up. We have traffic issues that occur throughout the village. It is not one street. There are ones that are more prone to them, such as the avenues, such as 8th and 9th, and you can talk about which avenues are. There are ones that have what I call natural street culling, also known as, oh my God, too many routes, and they're in the way, and they slow me down. If you go on 113th, there's a giant manhole cover that needs to have a nice little work on that street. So we do have some road issues, but I would like to ask the chief a basic question. In your experience, having worked here for 5.5 years, being under, 3 or 4 different administrations, I've lost count.
A few.
Okay. I would like your recommendations and your thoughts on traffic enforcement and traffic culling and things to that nature. What do you think would help you and your department?
I can tell you that the single biggest thing that's going to help slow down traffic is enforcement. Absolutely. We've covered that, and number one priority for us. So outside of that, that's really your guys' call. We'll use the tools that you give us, whatever those are, and we'll implement them. We're not going to sit here and tell you that, hey, let's spend $30,000 on traffic calming things, and that's not our job to set out the studies. If you want to tell us, hey, we're going to get this for you, we'll take everything that you're going to give us to use at our disposal. But our biggest thing is our traffic enforcement to us.
Is there any tools that you don't have to do it right this second, but there are tools that you think that we can do to help you with that? I for one, would like to support that, because I do know that that is, you have even if you're fully forced, I think unless you have enormous amounts of reserves at all times, and I know you're working towards that goal, I think that man hours are any technical things that we can give you that would help you.
I mean, in that respect, even fully staffed, even going to 10, 20, 30 reserves, no, we are never going to be able to be everywhere at one time. So if the commission, the manager, through complaints from the residents are saying that they think that something needs to be different in that spot, be it a traffic circle, a traffic bump, a cushion, whatever it is that the feedback is that you guys think, then that's not my place to tell you no. So if that's the thing that you guys want to go forward with, by all means go ahead, and we'll tell you where probably the best place to do it is, but that's where we stop with that.
Another question I have is, in your experience, are you finding that the traffic enforcement is not solely outsiders, and then there's a lot of residents also violating stop signs and speed limits in your experience?
Absolutely. I mean, the number one people who come through our city outside of 6th Avenue or Griffin Boulevard are obviously our residents. Now, we do have the natural cut-throughs at 9th Avenue, 8th Avenue to take you all the way from North Miami to Griffin to shoot out to the county one of the two ways. But if we're stopping you on the interior, more than likely you're a resident. So in saying that, our residents are not above the law. If we stop you, it's not just, don't you know who I am? I'm a resident, I live here, you can't cite me, which I personally have experienced on several occasions. If you live here, that's no excuse that you can break the law here. Plain and simple.
Just as a shout out to the residents, would you care to speak to them and what we're hoping they will, because some of them do watch the meeting, so I would like you to.
I mean, it's everything that the residents that do come here are the ones that are complaining about. Residents of ours run stop signs, residents of ours speed, residents of ours go too fast around the park, residents of ours drive on other people's swales. You know, and they park on the medians. Believe it or not, yes, these are our residents parking on our medians. Don't do it. You are the first step to it. If our residents are stopping it, then the aspect that we have to enforce it goes solely to those coming through our village.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much. Chris, do you have any questions for the chief?
Chief, I have a question. When you were reporting earlier, you talked about speed trailers that possibly keep a record, keep data. And would those be, what came to mind was something like a red light camera. It clocks you and it takes a picture of your tag when you go by. Does that exist? And is that legal?
For us in the state of Florida, we do not have the red light cameras that take a picture of the front of the car, or the speed cameras even, which exist in any state that has a front-facing license plate.
Right.
The only way to identify the car is, John, correct me if I'm wrong, through the tag. So you cannot match up the tag, which a lot of the red light camera tickets are getting challenged and thrown out as being unconstitutional. Because all you have to say is, that's not me driving the car. It only takes a picture of the back of the car,
Right.
not who is driving.
Right.
The ones that, the speed trailers that we have, again, are ones that we have won. So we didn't get a lot of choice in what we got. Sorry.
So the data would be important for you, sort of, to do a survey, take the place of having an officer clock people?
As of right now, that's the avenue that we have.
Right.
The other ones that do record the data are going to tell you how many cars have come by and how fast they've gone, but there is no identification of those vehicles.
Okay.
But again, that's one of those things that I'm having to work to get, just so that if I put out one of those trailers at one section, that's 12 hours, 24 hours, however long we choose to leave it at that spot, worth of data, that would have cost at, minimum salary X amount.
Right. So my experience, because I'm sure other people do it, I do it myself, you get distracted, you're thinking about the next thing you have to accomplish, and if you're not looking at your speedometer, which is why I use speed control a lot, you go over the limit. And having those trailers out there flashing at you, saying, slow down, you see them all along the causeway up here, and going into Bay Harbor, Bow Harbor, and they just make you realize, oh, shoot, okay, I gotta slow down. So I think that adds a tremendous amount of value, where we can't have an officer on every block at all times of the day, and then having the data definitely would boost the benefit.
I fully agree with that.
There was perhaps we could think about when we're doing the budget to make sure that we set aside some money for that.
Chief, can you also look into the cost of ones that track the data? Because I'm thinking, and I've always said, let's not put the cart before the horse. I agree with some of the suggestions with traffic calming, but I think, and I agree with you, we've gone through a period where we didn't have enforcement where it should be, and I think we're moving in that direction. And I think we need to see what you and your officers can do before we start jumping into certain traffic calming solutions, because they may not be necessary. Or ones that we thought we couldn't use, maybe we can use, like the mayor mentioned about one-way streets maybe causing more speeding, but if we've put our foot down with enforcement and Biscayne Park has become again what it was before, where don't even think about speeding, one-way streets could benefit our neighbors that are having their grass run over, and it also, besides safety, it could help with beautification, but it did surprise me hearing this, that making the street one-way would increase traffic. So enforcement obviously has to come first before we would even have that discussion. And having these monitors that would actually track speed, it would help you bring that data to us and saying, look, enforcement is working. The speeds have actually gone down. I'm tracking the data over the month, and the speed, the speeding has gone from an average of, 30 on the street, and now it's down to, 25 or something like that, and that can help us with that empirical data.
I guess my question still is, how does everybody feel about lowering the speed limit to 12 miles an hour?
I want to address that from a traffic engineer that I spoke to, not from my personal knowledge. And please jump in here, because you have much more on the ground data. I'm not opposed to lowering the speed limit if it doesn't cost us anything. I don't think that's a problem. I think for me, however, the 10 to 15% of the individuals who are running and speeding, they're not watching the stop signs. They're bolting through the stop signs. So one of the other issues I think we need to absolutely look at some point is the visibility issue and what's causing them to run the stop signs, if there are causes that are other than they just don't care. Okay? And I do think if you do this, I won't use the phrase I talked to you about, because I don't think that's appropriate. I say, okay, I'll say it, run it and gun it. That seems to be the philosophy we have. I'd like to switch that to the opposite of that. We seem to have a complete disregard for the white lines in front, We seem to, even the ones that are stopping are rolling. I mean, there's no stopping. And part of that is a sightline issue. It's really not, in my experience, after driving around and looking at all this, it's not just that they don't care, it's they go in front of a thing and they can't see, so they keep going into the road. And so my concern is, and when this happened, there were children in the street. So my concern is making sure we physically done everything we can first. We do have a stop sign campaign of some kind. I'd love to see that in addition to the speeding. But I'm also, as I said before, I'm not opposed to, on limited version on 8th Avenue, 9th Avenue, a spot on 11th Place, one on 118th, and maybe in front of the park. Those are the only areas where I would like to see before stop signs some sort of cushion material so that it would at least slow them down to 15 miles an hour. I'm not saying we have to start out with everything, because you can get them temporary and move them. That's the other option. They are much more complicated temporary from an installation perspective. But I'm not opposed to that, because all it would do is force people to slow down right before a stop sign. And if you're going 15 miles an hour before the stop sign, you don't even feel it. Thank you.
Can I address the lowering the speed limit? That was your question, Harvey. I've often thought, well, I'm not sure that we could lower the speed limit on Griffin to...
We can't do it on county roads.
Do that on the interior streets. I've often thought that we should lower the speed limit around the playground to 15 if that's permissible. And that 9th Avenue is a major cut-through, so that would also force people, well, encourage people not to take 9th Avenue as a north-south, you know, the right route.
20 we can do. The only way you can lower around the park, as far as I know, it's got to be designated a school zone, and it gets designated a school zone if it collects federal funds. And I don't think it does. That was my thought also about, I believe the Church of the Resurrection has pre-K.
It's not federally funded, it's private. It's private.
If it doesn't get federal funds, it could be a school zone. But I think, as I said, we did it before. We went from 30 to 25. That made a difference. We were very lucky. At that time, the county paid for all of these signs. If we could lower it to 20, my thought is, if Key Biscayne did it, I'm sure they've done studies, because we see the studies online, there must have been a reason for it. If Victoria Park did it, there must be a reason for it. It must work. If it worked for them, I would think it would work for us.
We are
25.
Hold on, we're not going to go back and forth right now. However, I do feel that there's a lot of input from the community on this, and I'm not opposed to having conversations with the community on this and their input. And this is just an initial conversation we're having today. There's no studies, there's nothing going on that's moving forward. If there's a desire for the community to have I don't want to have another workshop, we're going to have other workshops and other things, but I have no problem even having, because I have periodic meetings and maybe you can get some input, and please send us letters on anything you think. I have no problem with that. I would like to see, I think a methodical approach wouldn't be a bad one. I think we should give the chief a little time to see what he can do. And I don't know how much time you would need or what you'd like to see first, but before we invest in money and resources and in all of this, I think you did mention some things you would like, maybe get together with the manager if there's any materials that we can budget for next year to help with that. And also, I wanted to, can you please comment, I don't think you all know this, but North Miami has been pitching in too. So I met with...
Assistant Chief Juriga.
Thank you. Assistant, and also...
I believe Assistant Chief Page.
Correct. I met with both of them when I was at North Miami, and they were incredibly helpful and incredibly nice and supportive of helping us with a variety of issues. And after reading and hearing from some of the input that I had given as well as the chief, they already beefed up the northern part of the county and then coming through. So on 121st, on 8th, 7th through 9th?
7th through 10th, I believe.
10th, 7th through 10th, they're actually enforcing quite a bit on the northern corridor, which should help with some of the cut-through stuff. And I want to just thank North Miami for those efforts, and the chief still reaching out.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only that, but two of the latest hires that we have, Officer Pete Dominguez and Officer Sean Van Bever, both are very, very uniquely qualified because they both have run motor units. Pete from North Miami himself, so he has that connection. Sean had run a previous motor unit from Lauderhill, but in his full-time job, he works for LEL, which is Law Enforcement Liaisons. Those are the ones that run the traffic campaigns, such as Click It or Ticket, DUI, and things of that nature. So his job is to go from Monroe County to Broward County, making sure all these traffic initiatives are going out and working with everyone's motor unit and their police departments. So he has very established connections with North Miami that will be able to help us in, using something if we do a joint task force with North Miami. Hey, we're going to run traffic on this day. If you guys want to set up there, and we'll all do something together.
Great, thank you so much. And thank him so much for speaking.
Absolutely.
Jenny, 20 miles an hour, what do you think?
I drive down the avenues basically at 20 miles an hour, so I would have no issue with the lowering if it's something that's feasible and we're able to do and it's no extra cost or anything like that. I have no problem. I deliberately have my speedometer set to where it's telling me the number, and as soon as I hit the park on the avenues, I go down to like 20, not even the 25. So I would be in favor of that.
Now, I don't have a problem with the idea of lowering the speed limit to 20, but for the purpose of making the village safer, I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference. I think what it really comes down to in this case is enforcement, because what will happen is we'll lower it to 20, and if people were speeding when it's at 25, they're still speeding at 20. It just means when we stop them and ticket it, it may fall into a different tier level. I'm not sure how that works anymore. So for the purpose of, I just don't know how much it would really impact safety in the village by lowering it down to 20. I think enforcement's the key.
Yeah, I think it'll help somewhat. I don't think it'll be, take care of everything. I think every little incremental change we make will help. If it gets to be, excuse me, Dan, I think if it gets to be the point where, oh my God, I don't want to drive through there anymore, they've got too many speed limits, they've got too many stop signs, they've got too many roads that are closed, so people won't drive through. And that's, I think, one of those things. Again, as I say, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, and it doesn't cost us anything, there's no downside to it. So I can't see any problem with it. You're the chief, I don't know.
I mean, as far as an emergency standpoint, it doesn't bother me because we're going to get to the emergency.
Absolutely.
Regardless.
Right.
So I can't speak to the rest of that.
As I say, other places have done it. My thought is if other places have done it, they must have done it for a reason.
And your biggest comment on it is that if we can do it and it doesn't cost anything.
Right.
So
Right, we don't know. We don't know. As I say, last time we did it, the county paid for the signs. And the county must have thought it worked somewhat, because everybody has always said the county would never change the speed limit on Griffin, and they did. They also lowered that to 25. So, to an extent, they must have agreed with us.
I think you kind of have the thoughts of everybody. I think we move forward with the other one.
And I think it's the same thing with the traffic calming, the bumps, the tables, anything. As much as I like the idea of enforcement, you can't be out there everywhere 24 hours a day.
And I don't want to present the illusion that we will be able to, even at full force.
And so I think there'll be some places where that will be the best thing to do. Some of the ideas about the semicircles, it blocks, if you're going down 9th Avenue, for example, you look down there and you can see the traffic light on 123rd. I know they do the same thing on Griffin. They look down there, they see the traffic light and screen, and they speed up so they can make the traffic light. And it stops their line of sight. So I think, again, but it depends on how much it would cost, what it would work, how much we'd have to actually, what the county is going to require of us. I think we're a little bit better positioned because our streets are much narrower than anywhere else in the county, except maybe Cook.
I do think we have unique streets that share the roads with pedestrians and bicyclers, and primarily a lot of pedestrians, and some bike, I'm not going to miss the bike folks. But I do think that makes us unique, and that'll help us with the county for getting some things approved. However, I will tell you that my research and my talking with traffic engineers, and I'm once again not an expert in this, the cost of circles is exorbitant. The cheapest, most inexpensive, and least impactful thing seems to be the cushions. They run about $2,000, not installed, just to purchase them, with the signage is around $2,000 a pop, just to give you an idea. And that's without using asphalt, and that's doing stuff that can be recycled and moved to other locations. I'm just telling you what I found initially. I hadn't planned on presenting it this evening because I don't like to present anything unless it's one, feasible, viable, and also has a complete report for you. Just so the audience knows, I did have an engineer look at our roads. That is something that I have done. He did prepare a report, and I've been remiss in forwarding it to you, so I will make sure everybody gets a copy of it. It's kind of an initial report, and yes, there are funding opportunities out there if you have asphalt failure due to sea level rise, and that might help us get our roads funded, and that's why I asked for someone who was professional to do it, because once again, you are correct, there's no committee in the world that could have done what he did, because he's a professional civil engineer, unless you happen to work in that. You also happen to have asphalt expertise. But getting people to volunteer and getting some people to help out, getting that information is very helpful, and hopefully we can all reach out to do that, and together solve some of the major issues we have on our roads, including traffic. Thank you.
One of the people I forwarded the email to for Christian is the Department of Signs from Miami-Dade County, and they will send out an engineer to take a look at our keep off the median signs, whether they meet the requirements. They did a survey, they said here years ago. They don't have anything pre-2012, and I'm sure it was done maybe 30 or 40 years ago. And my thought is, when the guy comes out, we can ask him other questions about what other things we can do. The way it's going to change is, if you park on the median, you will not get a citation. You will in fact get a traffic ticket. And my thought is that will stop people from parking on the medians a lot sooner than somebody getting a code violation.
Those orange stickers are really annoying.
Yeah, they are. I think that'll work too. Let's go to the side yard pickup. People have complained about the trash cans in the streets for 4 or 5 years now. 15 years ago, when everybody had side yard pickup, it was not a problem, because the trash cans just weren't on the street, ever. If it's a big issue and it's costing us money and it's making the neighborhood look bad, maybe we need to see what we can do to change it. Waste Pro is not the only company out there. There are others. However, when they bid on it, that will be one of the requirements. As it is now, I think everybody was only given a certain period of time to request side yard pickup. So people still can. Well, I have a funny feeling people just don't know about it, because I think more and more people would probably take advantage of it.
We have an expert here from Waste Pro. Do you want to come on up? Sure. Thanks. He's been patient waiting all night, so. I asked him to come this evening because of the concerns regarding excessive, primarily bulk trash being put out all week and not being collected. So I asked him to come in and talk about that first, and perhaps you can help.
Everybody, Ken Rivera with Waste Pro. As it regards to the side door service, obviously that'll be a major change to a contract, but we've had contracts where we currently service now throughout our footprint where it's all side door service. So it's not a matter of, we're not the only company, it's just we bid on what is provided in a spec of a contract, and whatever that contract is and what the specs are, we bid accordingly. And yes, there are, residents in the city that do have the side door pickup, but I do believe that part of the process when it did go out to bid in order to lower costs at the time was to put residents to have it out by the curb, and then which will, there was a concern about the amount of trucks still on the road and things of that nature, because it does take a little time to service a home. But there is still the option, if people wanted it, they could keep it, and that's what we have today.
Do Do you have any idea what percentage is side
I
yard?
think, my last review on that, I think we had about 40 to 50 individuals that have a backdoor service or side door service at this moment.
Article 5 addresses it in the contract, and the residents have to sign a waiver of liability entering onto their property, but it's still in there.
Okay. I guess could there also be, as long as I've got you here, instead of actually picking it up at the side door, if they just put it out in front of their fence, not on the street, just in front of their house?
Typically, what occurs is when there is a request for the type of service, there has to be at least one conversation so that we know where the container is.
Right.
So we basically say wherever you think you want to have the container, as long as we have access and there's no issues with pets and dogs and things of that nature, and that we have access to a gate that is easily open and things of that nature. Obviously, we take a look at we've had some items come up here from time to time regarding the condition of the gate. And we want to make sure that, the gate is in good condition before we start going back in and out, about 8 times a month. So, we look at that kind of stuff. But every situation is different. We do have contracts currently that it's placed in front of the garage, and the garage is probably, 40 yards up from the road, but again, it does take a major change in a contract for that whole thing to develop.
But I guess that, in fact, would make it a little bit easier having to go around to the side door, and however, it would stop trash cans from being out on the street ever. And that seems to be a big issue. I guess the other thing is the yard trash.
Yes.
The amount of yard trash. If my yard trash increased, if you said to me I could put out 10 cubic yards every week, the bottom line is at the end of the year, I would still put out the same amount of yard trash because I'm not going to manufacture anymore. I'm just thinking maybe there's a better way of doing it than 2 cubic yards each time. I'm not quite sure what to do or how to do it. Maybe having a larger pickup once a month, and for the other weeks, just putting out grass clippings, and even if it's in garbage cans. I don't know.
Well, currently, right now, if I'm not mistaken, and I think we're due for one, we do have the quarterly bulk pickups. So that allows for situations where people to put above and beyond, the 2 yards. And that's typically a scheduled day, and if I remember correctly, it's usually on a Saturday.
It's a Saturday usually.
And that way, it allows us to have a lot more assets available on the Saturday, and we can put that into the city. But I know we do have a quarterly pickup, so we're just waiting for the next one to be scheduled, and we'll work with village manager on that.
Well, we used to do that before hurricane season. It was done by the ecology board. The intent was before hurricane season and right after, just to make sure all the yards were clear from debris. And that was the original intent of that.
So to go back to the main question about the 2 yards, every contract is different, but ultimately, to increase the limit, and I gotta be honest with you, I was driving, a couple things, driving here all day today and yesterday, and just for the purposes of the stop sign, you do have to roll, to look on the other side, so I just wanted to put that out, because I did find myself a lot of times, trying to look, but, it's all basically, I'm going to say 95% of the residents out here only put out less than 2 yards. And I can tell you that because when we were done yesterday, there was only 3 large piles that we've reported into the city, which was an incredible difference from when it was back, I'm going to say, about a year ago, where there was just constant, oversized piles. So I believe that that helps with an understanding of what residents are learning to put out. But that also takes the education of telling them what 2 yards looks like, in prior administration, we actually a photo of what we believe 2 yards is, because, you can measure, a yard is 3 by 3 by 3, but a roll pump frond can be 3 yards, and if you put it, 2 of them, both of them the long way, so we have a picture with what it looks like, and the intent at the time was to publish that. Now, I took a look at your website, and there is opportunity to kind of give you a drawing of what that would look like. I can provide that to the staff so they can post that. And ultimately, there's the disposal component of this entire thing. I mean, are we picking up only 2 yards? No, we're picking up 3 to 4 things that are, that have, more than 2 yards. But if we essentially add more yardage to it, again, that is a significant change to a contract that may require additional disposal compensation and things like that. But anything is possible.
I guess at the moment, if somebody puts out too much, one of the other issues we have is somebody puts out too much, you wait for us to take a photograph of it to bill. No. Let's say somebody puts out 8 cubic yards.
So what happens, I'll tell you the process. The process is when we run into a pile like that, we take the picture and we send it in at the end of the day to the staff. Staff then sends the next day to code officer, say, hey, this isn't out of code. They have 2 options. Either A, get rid of it on your own, and a lot of people do because we had like 3 or 4 yesterday, and I went to check on them, and 2 of them already, resident somehow disappeared. And then, or they can bring some of it back in, leave the pile there, and then we come get it, and then on Wednesday we come and we retrieve those that the code says go ahead and retrieve. But on top of that, and I think, and this goes unmentioned, and I think part of we unintentionally cause the issue. And I say that because when we're here Wednesday, we'll come in here to pick up 3 addresses. But inevitably, there's going to be something out there, and we're there already, so you know what, let me just go get it. And it's a vicious scenario where we, again, without wanting to, are creating a situation where if we're on 117th Street, we're picking up a pile, and there's one on the other side, and it's fresh, and we know that they said, hey, we're there already there, we pick it up. And it's not because it's just better to pick it up because we know that, we're here, why not? We're good guys, we'll give them the service. So I do think we do bring some of that issue as it being put out way after the pickup and too early or too late after the pickup. So, it's one of those things that happens.
I saw one of my neighbors yesterday afternoon at 12 o'clock putting the yard trash out. I knew the pickup was at 7 o'clock in the morning. Right. And so I know that's an issue. And I guess what we used to do was we used to go out, take the picture, you pick it up, they got a bill. So it wasn't there that extra 2 days. It wasn't there Tuesday and Wednesday.
And that for me is, I spent a lot of my Saturday walking around, and I did this for a couple of weeks just to see how many piles, and the pile numbers were huge. It was ridiculous. And people putting them out on Saturdays, I know that. I can't say how long before Saturday we put them out, because I went out on Saturday. And I think I called and made some rather vocal comments to both the city manager and to you regarding the fact that this place was looking pretty trashy. And my concern is, and I got numbers of complaints, I must have had 15 complaints from residents over the issue of this trash being left out all the time. And we can't have the village looking like a giant trash pile. I'm not talking about a couple pond farms. I'm talking about large piles and debris and things that are putting out. So my question is, you did it differently when you were here. Could you please talk about that and how they may be returning to that?
Yes, we did. What we would do when I was here before was Caesar would go out on Monday mornings, and so the morning, I think trash was a different day then. It wasn't just Mondays, but it was Tuesdays. But he would go out that morning, identify any large piles, photograph, measure them, and then speak to the resident if the resident was available. If not, then he would, do the invoice, put it on the resident's door so they could get it when they got home that night. We usually had an answer within 24 hours by the next day, and then Waste Pro would come the next day and pick them up.
In your experience, having done it that way, is there any way to get it done so it's on Tuesday the day after, so it's not sitting there for 3 days? Or, there's an or we fine them, charge them, and they won't do it again. I mean, that's another option.
Well,
But I'm saying this because it's not a few piles. You know, I counted 30 some odd one time. It's not a few houses.
Okay, I just want to add, the other opportunity for improvement, I will say, and it's really not in our control, is when we're done, okay, let's say we're done on Monday at 5 o'clock, and we report, hey, we're done, and we leave. You know, it is hard to have people, stop putting it out after the fact. And I say that because, when they put it out, let's say Tuesday, and we've already been in the city, and it is hard for us, outside of playing here's my GPS and my video card, to say that it wasn't done. And at that point, we have to bring you the GPS, and look, we were there, and it wasn't there. It would just so happen that when we had the conversation, within probably a half an hour, I get a call from the driver who happened to be picking up trash, at that same time, and I was like, guy, it's amazing how much stuff is out here right now, and it's Friday, and we don't get back till Monday to pick up the service. So, that's something that it's very difficult for us to, we're in here every day, we can manage that because we can report it. But because we're only on here Monday, Tuesday, and then Friday, and if no oversized policies and nothing's out there, and we won't be here Wednesday, it's hard to, manage that and report that to you, then you'd have to use, staff.
If you could work with the manager, and the manager work to make sure that the residents are, and I know you're working on a letter to get out anyway,
Yeah, yes.
For code, all sorts of code issues.
But we can also add a trash component.
And that was addressing, I think, Barbara Cole's comment about the letter. I know you're in the process of doing that. If we can make sure that a letter goes to every home, they're totally aware of everything that they're responsible for and understand there will be a citation involved. Not because I want citations, but because at this point, I'm not and I really want to be clear, this isn't a few pom-poms. Okay, this is enormous piles, large quantities, and oftentimes the same folks repeating it. And so there needs to be that escalation, and I know that the previous commissions put things in place to help with repeat offenders. We just need to find a better system so that we are tracking that and actually following through on it, so there is a consequence for people doing this.
I guess my thought is, as I said years ago, what they used to do was, Caesar or Caesar's position would go around Monday morning, photograph the piles, and it would be picked up. They would get a bill in the mail. And I think there's a much better idea of getting a bill in the mail for $100 or $75 than I think if they put the trash on the wrong day, it's what, $25, Gary? Yeah, so instead of being $25, we want it to be $100, but at least it would be off the street.
No, I think that's a great idea. Is that legal? Does it provide?
Whatever our ordinance provides, we'd have to charge, but it is a repeat violator.
But no, I'm not saying for code violation, I'm saying for picking up the garbage that's left out. Your trash.
That's oversized, specifically oversized
So
piles.
it's the actual bill, we have to see how we did in the past and what we relied upon.
That's what we used to do. And I would get a bill occasionally not right away, sometimes it'd be 4 or 5 months later, and I'd look at it and say, maybe I did. I'd look at, well, he's right, it's a big pile, and I'd send a check in.
And that would prevent you from having to come out twice. That would prevent you from coming out twice unless it's a big truck that you need. I know there's some issues, and this I want to be clear, and the other issue I had, and I discussed with Kenny, was the issue of some of the piles easily could have been picked up, and because they were slightly oversized or whatever, they didn't pick them up, and they waited for measurement and pictures, and the problem with that is that it's just sitting out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about enormous piles that somebody puts out, because we do have some folks that have tree trimming companies that leave everything in front and don't take it legally. But for piles that are what I call consumer expanding piles, that we can find a way to pick them up and get rid of them faster. And I just, if you can, I don't want to make a whole conversation on this, but I really wanted to make sure that we are addressing the problem and work with the code board to make sure whatever process we have in place is one that is of enforcement in this issue. And I would just like to see consensus among the commission that we move forward to try and find a way to get the trash off the ground. That's really what I would like to see.
Do we now, I guess now, if somebody who wants a special pickup, they can give you a call and say, I've got a sofa that needs to be picked up or something like that?
Yeah, if it's off schedule, yes.
Right.
They don't need to do if it's not off schedule. They can put out a mattress, correct?
Yeah, for Monday, for Monday.
So if there's a mattress or a piece of furniture, I just want to be clear to the audience, that's not illegal to put out on Monday. That's permitted.
So bulk trash is not only yard trash, it can be something else?
Yeah, as long as it's not construction debris, concrete, paint, tires and things of that nature. If bulk, that's furniture or, stuff like, if you're gutting your kitchen cabinets, that's C&D. That's
Right, but it could be a sofa.
Yeah, oh yeah.
A chair, a lawn
Chair, whatever, yeah.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, can I just see if there's a consensus, and this is more questions for Mr. Vera? I'd like to make a consensus that we at least ask the village manager to work with Waste Pro to find a solution so that we are not getting so much waste on the streets.
We're already on that.
Okay. Is there a consensus, though? Yes? Okay. Thank you.
I'm done.
Okay.
Show different situations, and if there's yard trash out on the swale on a Saturday, that's a citable offense.
Correct.
No, regardless of what the size is, and we have a code officer on duty on Saturday. So,
Well, I'm agreeing with you on that. That's what we just said. Anything the only issue that we were talking about was bulk trash, if it's put out oversized, to find a way to have it not be sitting out for days and days. Because that's the problem now. It sits out for days and days and days. And then they add to the pile, which is another thing. They like to add to the pile.
putting out an oversized pile, can't we make that a citable offense as well? Oversized.
No.
You put it out on the right day.
It's not if it's
Okay,
a day.
Gary, could you do me a favor? Could you come up? Yeah, thank you. It is now public comments, just want the
In
board.
and of itself, it's not a citable offense. But when it's out the day after the pickup, it is. And it's not Waste Pro's problem, it's not the village's problem, it is the residents' problem. And because of our process, like I said earlier, we encourage them to do that. We give them the 2 bids, they get the extra days. They need to be cited the next day and every day thereafter when it's out there. And it'll stop very quickly.
My thinking is 2 things. First of all, we get on Saturdays, if there's a pile out there, people get cited. The other thing is, if it's oversized, why don't we just take a picture and bill them?
I agree with that. I don't know why Waste Pro, we were going through this process so that people wouldn't be overcharged. We're spending money to protect somebody who's violating our ordinances.
Right.
Absurd. Let Waste Pro pick them up and charge them.
I've been here 30 years.
And that's
so
that.
It used to work just that way. If it was oversized, you didn't get a bill and say, hey, what do you want to do? No, they took a picture and then you
And they were sent a bill. Yeah. And so this way, Waste Pro will do it in lieu of the village. I agree. Simple. Done.
I don't know if Waste Pro can actually build them or...
Hold on. You've got a comment, so let's ask Waste Pro, let's not speak for Waste Pro.
Yes. We just, understand our rate structure. Our rate structure is built on disposal cost based on a 2 cubic yard factor. If we start, doing what's being asked of, number one, I can't charge the resident. And then secondly, you're going to start moving the generation rate of your tons up forward and higher, which that's not how, it's not compensated in that fashion. In other words, the cost has to be spread out through the whole city and not that individual, customer.
Right now, what does it actually, I think, right now per house, when we're paying for the 2 cubic yards? Any idea what we're paying for those 2 cubic yards?
So lead is like $8.38 a month, every house.
A month? A month,
yes.
and that's for actually
2 yards.
8 cubic yards.
Well, it's every week, so yes.
So it's 8 cubic yards.
Yeah.
And it's $8. So it's $1 a cubic yard, you're saying, basically.
Correct.
So in fact...
Technically, I can pick up 8 yards one time and not pick you up again.
Right, okay, so, but in other words, if we now charge them $10, $12 a cubic yard, and we give them the $12 a cubic yard, you're getting paid a lot more per cubic yard. Is that correct?
If you were to change the rate structure, yeah, but it'll apply for the whole city. Because then you're changing...
He's looking for a user fee. He's trying to find a way, let me just be clear, Commissioner Bill's trying to find a user fee that would compensate you to take it away, and we wouldn't have to look at the trash pile. I think that's what he's really...
So what I'm saying is, this guy's got too much out there, he's got an extra 4 cubic yards, he now gets billed $48, $12 a cubic yard. We bill him, we pay you.
Again.
So you're getting extra money, and we're getting it off the street.
Currently, it's $20 a cubic yard over.
That's what I'm saying, well, $20 to me, if we're paying $1 a cubic yard now, 20 seems a bit excessive, 12 might not be bad, and it would be, hey, we can charge 12, they get to whatever it is. It could be something that's worked out so there's a little bit of reason there in between, and you don't feel bad about charging somebody a huge amount of money, but they're being charged a fair amount for their extra.
But just another comment, and then I'll stop.
That's okay,
But remember that, and I'll use this Monday as an example. There was only 4 oversized piles in the entire city.
Okay.
Everybody else had no problem, it got picked up. We already have a way of charging the customer, which is what village manager just discussed. I think, in my opinion, the eyesore is the fact that once we are done, it comes out and it stays out and it's there all day long until we get back.
That's what I'm saying, so we want to eliminate that.
Right, so like you do when we get back on Monday. Because when you pay, if nobody had an oversized pile, but everybody put it out on Saturday or started Friday, everybody in the village started putting stuff out Friday, and everybody in the village is within the size restriction. It'll stay there Friday, Saturday, Sunday until we get here Monday, and that's the issue. That you have all the stuff that you have out there, and all that stuff could not be oversized, but it's out there.
Well, we have 2 issues. The first issue is them putting it on the wrong day and then get a citation for it. The other issue is it being oversized and it stays out for 2 additional days. And that's an issue.
And there's a third issue, which I will argue, is that some of the piles that you might consider or not consider oversized are still sitting out there when they could have been picked up. And they waited till Wednesday. And I guess that's a structural issue that you could talk about with Caesar, getting out there early and dealing with that, so.
So we have 2 issues, but they both can be taken care of, and they can't be taken care of by the same system because they're 2 different systems.
It's 2 different issues, yeah.
2 different issues. It's the fact that everything will be picked up on Monday, so nothing will be out on Tuesday anymore. The stuff that people put out on Friday and Saturday, they'll get citations for.
Okay, I think we've kind of trashed this to death.
Can I give you one idea?
Yeah.
May I?
Oh, sorry. I don't know how popular or by virtue of how much is actually used, and we can get their tonnage figures. The 2 special pickups on Saturdays are a year. I don't use it. If 5% of the people in the community use it, I'd be surprised. So they have to bring trucks and machinery and so forth into the community, pick up whatever they pick up, which would be out there 2 days later, anyway. My thing is, there's value in those 2 days, okay, in terms of their costs and what we can get out of it during the course of the year. I might once a year have something that's over 2 cubic yards.
So what is your solution?
My solution is to get rid of those 2 Saturday pickups and come up with some system where you have 4 yards, 5 yards on one collection during the course of a year, there's a forgiveness of that. You have two special pickups. Each person has two special pickups, but it's not on the first Saturday in May and one in November.
We'd have to track that, hold on. Allowance for this week, I think that's good. 1,300 homes, what do you think?
One of the things in our industry, and this, whether it's waste, pro waste management, Republic, it doesn't matter, is that we know what to expect every single day in the city based on.
And that's how you manpower you.
And that's how we route trucks. And we've done something similar to what you're talking about in the city of Coral Springs, obviously, because it's a lot bigger city. And there's so much you don't know what to expect on that, on the calls. We have to be prepared. Let's say 14 people or 10% of the people of the city call, we're not going to know that until they call. So we may not know how many, what truck to dispatch. So it's such an unknown when you got that special twice a year thing that it is almost impossible to even prepare for something like that.
Limitations to the country.
No, I'm just saying just the expectation of the call. Just waiting for that call to come in.
Dan, I think okay, thank you. Can you, I think we've all agreed, can you work to, obviously it's an issue, so if you can work together and solve it and come back to the commission in July and tell us how you're going to find a way to help us out, all of you, both of you. Okay, thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming in for the long evening. I'd like to table 12C just because of the lateness of the evening. It's my item, so if there's no objection, I'll table 12C and put it onto July's agenda. No objection? Okay. Whoops, just in time for the rain.
We can go on.
Okay, we're going to request the replacement of agenda items, obviously the one that I just said, and I'd also like to make sure that we're moving forward on budget and budget issues. I think we need to do that, yes or no?
We are finishing up this next CAFR. Towards the end of that, as we get more of a feel for where we are, then we'll move forward on the 17-18 budget. Yeah, we're very much aware of that it's going to be ready.
Okay, and the other thing, and I think it's something I'd like to see is talking about just general overview of what the commission's priorities are. I agree with Commissioner Ross on that. We do need to start moving forward as we move into budget season. So I'd like to see an agenda item on, just a discussion item on priorities of this commission. And anybody else? Okay, reports, village attorney?
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, you said yes? I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Ross.
Right now, we're on extension with this driveway ordinance we extended the deadline to September 1st. And if we don't go back to address that ordinance and have two readings of something, we're going to be in September. So we need to have that discussion, I think, in July preferably. And my goal, when I brought it last, I guess it was April, was for the commission to sort of do the bullet points. Are we okay with, do we want everybody to have parking service on their private property? Are we okay with their parking in this rail? If we could just come up with those five guidelines.
You were there, but we did do that, I think, during the commission forum, and maybe we could get those notes together, because we did.
Well, hang on, because I did listen to the whole tape of that day long forum when I was out of town. And so if we base what we're going to do on the people that were present on that one day, what about the people who brought comments for the 2 years that the ordinance was being implemented? So we can't just say, okay, based on let's melt down.
I think you missed my point.
That Saturday.
But I think you missed my point. My point was that I think we had general discussion on that, but I don't disagree with you that we need to come back and do that as well. And I think July would be a good time to do that. I'm agreeing with you.
So I'd like to put that on the July agenda.
I'm agreeing.
The landscape ordinance was also put off to that Saturday workshop, and I listening to the tape, I heard very little discussion about the landscape ordinance. That has to do with new developments, remodels and whether or not it's going to apply to driveways. I think we're going to have that discussion as well, bring it back after we decide the comments.
Okay.
Also, I've seen, there's a lot going on now about climate change and government commitment behind it, and there is something called the Southeast Florida Regional Climate Compact. We have never discussed it, we're not a part of it. I'd like to have a talk about that as well.
Okay.
And I'm assuming we're going to have some kind of financial update, so I think we have a special update for that.
Okay. Village Attorney.
Thank you. We have the collective bargaining agreements, and I think it's a good time now with Christian having had a chance to look, and he's going to continue to look at a couple requests by, particularly the collective bargaining agreement with the PDA. I would like to, I think, sit down with you to get some direction as well as a group, and also tell you where the discussion has been in more detail than you've had, because we've had a break in the action. And the Public Works contract, perhaps maybe we'll do 2 executive sessions. Those are exempt from the Sunshine Law. And it may be, and I'll defer to Christian here, but maybe we could do it, I don't know where people are going, but maybe the last weekend in June might be enough time to get together. Just to let you know, we'll keep you, we'll send something out when we know we're ready and give you at least 10 days notice. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Good evening, everyone. Tomorrow, we're going to be having the meet and greet for the police chief and our village manager. It is at 6 p.m. at the Recreation Center. On Monday, June 12th, we have our code compliance meeting at 7 p.m. On the same date, on Monday, June 12th, we also have the Biscayne Park Foundation meeting at 7 p.m. We have on Wednesday, June 14th, the Public Arts Advisory Board meeting. I'm sorry, that meeting has been canceled. I do apologize. Monday, June 19th, we have the Planning and Zoning Board meeting at 6:30. Wednesday, June 21st, we have the Parks and Parkway Advisory Board meeting at 7 p.m. Okay. Let me know and I'll change it on the calendar, please. On Tuesday, July 4th, the village departments will be closed due to Independence Day holiday. The Planning and Zoning Board meeting was originally scheduled for July 3rd, and it's been changed to Wednesday, July 5th, again at 6:30. Monday, July 10th, we have the code compliance meeting at 7 p.m., and we also have on July 10th, the Biscayne Park Foundation meeting at 7 p.m. And our next regularly scheduled commission meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 11th at 7 p.m. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, thank you all for coming, and thank you all for coming out and staying so late. Surely appreciate it. I'm sorry, is there a second to that?
Second.
All right. Motion, we're adjourned. Thank you all very much for coming.